Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, alongside of me is Mr. Joe Decapitation.
What's going on, know-it-alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. We are ready to go. I know, and we are in the second part of the season. I'm jacked up because guess what? We don't know what's going on in the NFL week to week because every single week there's always a surprise. It's one of these games that we are absolutely positively sure it's a lock, right? It's a lock win. You know, they're going to definitely – and then what happens is an upset of such magnitude. We are shook.
Yeah.
We are just shook.
Yeah. Some of these, it's just like, what's this week's episode? This week's upset going to be? You're
exactly.
like, wow, man.
Welcome, everybody. If you're new to the show, why don't you do ourselves a favor, help out the channel, help out our show, and go over to Facebook or YouTube, search up Football on the Know Show. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to let you guys know when we go live, and also on Facebook, become a member. And if you want to furthermore follow this show, you can also go head over to Twitter at FB_know. And thank you to all the podcasters out there, people that love to listen to us on podcasts. We are on anywhere you can get your podcasts. Make sure you give us a follow and follow along our football journey. Make our football family a little bit bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. We love it when you guys join us. And, another crazy week. Again, we had Thanksgiving. Joe, how was your Thanksgiving day? Was it good?
Bro, it's food, man.
Yeah?
I had a great Thanksgiving. I just gorged all the food. I mean, it was so many different, the thing is, like, I went over to my mother's for Thanksgiving, right? So usually she puts on a big spread, like like everything. Like she had like acorn squash, she had mashed potatoes and gravy, she had cranberry sauce, she had stuffing, although I never got to get to the stuffing because it came out later after the dinner was already done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she had the whole spread going on, rolls, you name it. But it was great. It was great. How was yours?
Good. It was good. Again, we weren't sure if we were going to have a whole deal we put together, but we ended up putting it through last minute, and it ended up being great. And I didn't eat too much. I think I ate just right. Even with the desserts, I had a bunch of little slivers. You know that I've been cutting back on my sugar and stuff and carb intake, so the Thanksgiving was kind of a different day, But and the thing is, you got all those leftovers, so I'm trying to eat some of them. But we're coming up with creative ways to eat it. I did a nice turkey wrap that I did with leftovers, but then also my wife made this turkey chili, which is amazing. Okay. You guys haven't done this before. Use the turkey in the chili, and it's a great, amazing thing, and a lot better for you, the protein and stuff like that. So,
and
something lean turkey. Yeah,
something else that we can't get enough of is football.
Yeah, and so there were some good games. Kind of, I think that Dallas and Vegas game was good. That first one, Chicago and Detroit, that was kind of a debacle of a game.
Come on, man. Detroit, you had it, bro. You had it. Lions, come on. Dan Campbell, you got to find a way. Just find a way to get a win. This was the game. Yeah. This is one of the games.
It was one of the ones.
Even the Steeler game, they were tied into overtime. They couldn't find a way to get close enough to kick a field goal. They couldn't do. Oh, man, I feel bad for the Lions fans at this point because no matter what they do, listen, the Lions are competitive in every game this season, right? Mm-hmm. And they're always close. They're always right there, but they just can't get over that hump to get the W. And, again, another week goes by, a team that they could have beaten, and they just kind of let that win slip away from them towards the end of that game. And it's just another brutal blow to the fan base of Detroit and for the team as well. I mean, listen, Dan Campbell feels the same way. He wants he works. He's been working with these players in the facility every single week, and he knows how hard these guys are working. Mm-hmm. And he just feels bad at this point because he's like, man, we're close, but we can never get there at the end.
All right, Joe, we've got a know-it-all in the house. Who we got here?
Oh, yeah, Brandon.
Brandon's in the house.
What's going on, Brandon?
All right, what does he have to say?
Devon Messier.
Mercier. Devin Mercier out there. All right. Well, there you go. Thanks. Brandon's in the house with us. Our first comment of the night. But yeah, the Detroit Lions find a way to beat themselves. It happens that way. And your Vegas Raiders, I mean, that game was a really tight game, and they really performed against that team to where it seemed like at times they just lost to the Giants not long ago, and it seems like maybe that freshness of Bisaccia is wearing off a little bit. And then the Dallas Cowboys trying to bounce back, and they end up suffering a loss there on Turkey Day, which I picked the Dallas Cowboys because, again, I thought this was going to be a right opportunity for them. But as a Giants fan, I was totally ecstatic to see them lose that game. So it was great. Absolutely.
I'm sure you were as well as any other NFC East, opponent that they have. But that's the thing,
and
too.
Let the memes begin. That was great about it, too.
Oh, yeah, we had fun with that in our group. But real quick about that game, what was different for the Raiders, though, offensively, that's been the part that they've been missing. Mm-hmm. Ever since Ruggs is now gone, he gave them that speed, that kind of that top-notch speed, and that playmaking ability that he was developing into that kind of a great, almost like a great NFL receiver. He was kind of slowly getting everything down. And it was paying off huge dividends for the Raiders offense because he was making teams worry about him now. Mm-hmm. And with that speed and his abilities to take the top off of defense, and then all of a sudden to not have him there for a couple of weeks, it was like the Raiders offense was stagnant. They just didn't have that go-to guy, the guy that they could attack downfield with. And now comes in Desean Jackson, who asked for his release from the Rams. Mm-hmm. The Raiders saw an opportunity. Instead of actually pursuing Odell, they were like, well, this is a cheaper option. Let's go with Desean Jackson, and he can give us what we need in this offense. And you're starting to see, now that he's learned more and more of the playbook, you're starting to see this offense come back to life. It's like, they're just pumping juice back into this offense, and you saw it against Dallas, what they're starting to get back to and are capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a great game to watch, definitely. And that Buffalo game, that was easy to turn off pretty easy, too, after the fact, because they just started to run away with it.
So one-sided.
It was. All right, so we've got Chris Simpson in the house with us tonight. And Brandon Matthews in the house with us tonight, too. We got everybody in the house.
Let's go.
All right. And Chris Simpson says, Russ to New York, let's talk it into existence. And then Brandon says, it's going to happen. No one believes me. There you go. I don't know. Again, for me, it doesn't, it doesn't seem like it's the right idea, right place to go. Because, again, watching Russell Wilson in that last game under pressure and not being able to get things done, not being on the same page with some of the receivers. I know it seems like even when he kind of throws, it looks like he's still trying to protect that finger. Like he's not doing a complete, like it seems like he stopped short and like maybe when people get around him, doesn't want to put it out there and maybe get hit again. I'm not sure, but it just showed me a lot of flashes of what could potentially happen with the Giants right now because they don't have an offensive line. Their wide receivers are barely there and stuff like that. And I know Russell Wilson has the elusiveness to get out of the pocket and make some big plays, but right now, the way it seems right now, it seems like he's not scared or anything, but it seems like he's very reserved and not the same Russell Wilson that he was taking off running and doing some of the things that he used to.
I will disagree with that only because Russell Wilson is still Russell Wilson. That hasn't changed. What has changed is this offense for Seattle. They're not calling it the same way that they used to call it. And without having Chris Carson back there, who was their bell cow type of running back, they're not even that aggressive in the running game anymore either. They don't have that bull that they used to have that they would run a lot more with and kind of combat that with Russell Wilson's ability to throw the football. And that has completely changed their mind, their minds about how to call a game. It's definitely affecting their offense week to week right now. Now, Russell Wilson just kind of got thrusted in this past week into this lineup. And, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of like, okay, am I going to be able to make the throws that I need to make? Do I feel confident? I get that part. But for Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks at this point, it looks like they're – and here's the other thing, too, is that Pete Carroll, this is the second time he's done this. And he's basically pointing the blame at Russell Wilson saying, you got to do more. What? The guy has been the backbone of this organization for years. And now you're starting to point the finger at him and say, oh, well, you got to do more. It's not the team. It's just you. You got to play better. You got to do it. No. Russell Wilson has been doing this his whole career. And now at this point, when Russell Wilson needs more help, where is it? Listen, they made a very small effort when Russell Wilson threatened he wanted to trade possibly. They made a very little bit of an effort to improve this offensive line. Have they improved it enough to any quarterback standards? Absolutely not. I mean, they still got a little bit ways to go here to make this a sure offensive line. And until they do so, Russell Wilson's not going to be happy. Now, for Russell Wilson to be sent over to the Giants, if this was to happen, I think this would be a good move for the Giants. Because if you think about it, their offense is ready to win. They just need a quarterback and an offensive line at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are two positions that they could easily change in one offseason. If they were to make a trade, give up 2 1s and a third-round pick and maybe a player or something, or maybe not have to, and that was the trade, and trade Daniel Jones to Seattle. I mean, that anybody should be, saying, pounding the table saying, yes, just let's get it done. Now you get Russell Wilson in a Giants uniform with Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard, and whoever else and Kendrick Toney.
Kadarius
Toney.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got something to build with. You got Andrew Thomas you drafted in the first round at left tackle. He looks like he's going to get better and better every single season. He's getting there. Now you just need to fill up the rest of that offensive line, especially with right tackle. If you get 2 bookend tackles and then build that interior, whether it be free agency, you get some veterans in the inside of that offensive line, and then maybe later in the draft you find a center or whatever, now you're talking. Now you got Russell Wilson back there. You got a better offensive line, and you got weapons for him to get rid of the ball. With Saquon Barkley coming back after another season of being back somewhat healthy, you know what I mean? For him to have more confidence into the next season, we already know how the Giants' defense is. Giants' defense is not bad. The Giants' defense is actually pretty good. And now you bring all that. You bring a well-proven, really good, I mean, at least, arguably a top 5 quarterback, definitely a top 10 quarterback in Russell Wilson. And now things change because now it's a different mindset. Now it's like Giants were like, oh, well, we have Daniel Jones. There's not much else we can do. Now you have Russell Wilson. That's star power. That's also going to bring free agents that want to play for Russell Wilson to come to the Giants as well, too. So there's a lot of variables and possibilities that can arise from Russell Wilson's addition to the Giants. And I think it would catapult the Giants into that realm of saying, hey, who's the favorite to win the division? Now it's going to be hard not to point the finger and say the Giants are.
Mm-hmm. All right, and we've got Brandon. He says the Giants have a better O-line and new GM coming. He's going to pull the trigger quick. Chris Simpson agrees with him, says Giants O-line is bad, but the Seahawks O-line is awful. LOL. Yeah, I think both are bad. Yeah, I know what you're saying about Andrew Thomas, which is promising, and it's obviously a positive note for the Giants to get Russell Wilson because, again, he is like top 10, type of quarterback, Super Bowl champion, which you're not having right now with Daniel Jones, who, seems like he's fixed some of the turnovers, but just not being productive enough and getting points. Unfortunately, the Seahawks weren't able to really put up a lot of points for the Seahawks as well, but at least the offense is scoring for them, not the defense pulling all the weight. And I understand, yes, it's nice to match Russell Wilson with Saquon Barkley and Kenny Galladay, and then you've got that defense there. The defense, I think, is better than what the Seattle Seahawks defense is right now, too, as well.
Definitely.
You're lacking that pass rush, too, which is the same as with the Seahawks. But again, and it's good for the Seahawks, too, if you go, because the Giants have multiple first-round picks, so they can definitely get some work out of deals, so then they can get equality in trade value for Russell Wilson, and then you throw in Daniel Jones who's on top of it. But for Russell Wilson to say, yeah, this is where I want to go, yeah, I'm not so sure again.
Oh, it's definitely one of his destinations.
Maybe on the back burner. On his destinations. Last year, there was not on his he had the Bears, he had the Cowboys, he had the Saints, and he had I think Carolina maybe or something like that.
He definitely also had the Giants because he wants to go to a big market franchise. It definitely came out last year when he was talking about maybe tinkering with that trade that he might want to activate, and he did mention New York. Yes, it was later on down the road that he mentioned it, but he definitely mentioned it because it's a big market. He wants to play. He's got his own brand he wants to bring. If he brings it to a big market, it's more exposure. His wife is all about big market, so she also wants to go
push
there.
It that way. I think that's mainly part of it.
I don't think it's just mainly his wife. His wife is a part of it, sure, but not a main part. I mean, Russell Wilson's got to want to play for the team, and New York is one of those teams. He's even.
Well, it's obviously better than Seattle. I mean.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too. Is that you got to look at it this way. Look at it realistically, because it's not like he just wants to go to anywhere. He has a certain set of teams that he's open-minded to going to, and Giants are one of those teams. Another team that could come in is the Saints, because everyone knows that they're going to need a quarterback.
That's obviously one of the logical ones too, because again, if you look at the other teams, they already got their guy. The Raiders was one of them too.
The Saints are one of those teams that are, I would say, a better fit for Russell Wilson, but there's something about New York that kind of keeps getting tied to Russell Wilson, and likewise, that it's a possibility. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I'm saying it's definitely something that is definitely on the table to happen come next season.
Right, and I don't know, maybe it's because just I'm a Giants fan and I'm automatically maybe a defeatist at this point, like this is not going to happen. And then also the fact that you've got a younger quarterback, which you're trying to get developed and move on, and then you make a trade for a 30-year-old quarterback, which, again, he's been fairly healthy most of his career too, and you would hope that he's got another few more years in him. Nothing near like what Tom Brady can, but we'll see. We'll see what Russell Wilson can, which I understand that's great. But some of the other ones, like I said, that were already on the list, I would say no to, because I think they've solved the questions. They only said Dak because they weren't sure what was going to happen with that injury. Obviously, he looks good coming off that injury, and they gave him his deal.
Right.
You got Derek Carr, which I think he still looks really great. And if you look at his numbers, he's a hidden gem amongst the NFL. A lot of people don't pay attention to because his stats right up there with a lot of NFL greats.
Yeah, just this past week, he eclipsed 30,000 passing yards, which puts him 5th on the list of NFL, I think, quarterbacks since 1990 or something like that to reach 30,000 passing yards that fast.
Yeah, and then so like you said, you bring up the Saints, but again, they just got – now what's the question here? I mean, no, they're not paying Taysom Hill like a ton yet. They've got that, $40 million, so that roughly, 4 year,
it's
$40 million.
It's all incentive laden.
But it's incentive laden, exactly. So they go to do that deal. So say they do go get Russell Wilson, you've got to pay him, but then obviously that means Taysom Hill's out. So then do they trade Taysom Hill in that whole deal then too? If they're going to get rid of him, or do they keep him as that? Keep him as that.
They're going to keep him as that
the gadget back, and just basically he's going to be disgruntled, I think, though, too, because you said, here you go, we're going to give you this chance and opportunity to gain more money. Oh, by the way, we're going to get Russell Wilson now, so I guess you don't have that opportunity to get that extra bonus and now that extra money after he just reworked that deal with you. So I think he's going to be a bit disgruntled about it. But I understand it as far as the Saints' point of view, too, because how many people would say this is amazing? You've got Alvin Kamara there. You've got Russell Wilson. Then hopefully if Michael Thomas is fully healthy here, if he comes back. Yeah, that's what I mean.
They got to revamp that receiving core.
But Callaway, though, even looks like he's got some potential there of getting better. But, and then that defense still is pretty good. So,
right.
But then, they've been down in the salary cap, though, lately. They're trying to get back on the plus side.
When that offensive line is healthy, because they still don't have Ryan Remzik there at right tackle, but when that line is healthy, it's one of the best in the NFL. So you got the protection. You just need to fill in the weapons, which is easy. You still have Kamara. You got, Taysom Hill as that gadget, that X-Factor type player that Sean Payton loves. And, I mean, they got something going there, So, and that's the thing is I feel like destinations that need or could use an upgrade at quarterback are all going to be on the table for Russell Wilson if, in fact, he requests a trade to get out of there.
I would even throw in like Nate Solder. Do you think they would give him to the Seahawks?
They can't because of his contract.
Oh,
his
man.
contract.
That's terrible.
And
I was going to see it like when that contract ends, if it comes up any time soon.
But the problem is if you trade him, you're going to severely suffer in cap penalties. So that's going to set you backwards.
Yeah. So I just want to see when that ends. So hopefully maybe it will pretty soon, and then we can just drop that off the mix. Because that's the problem, too, is the Giants don't have a whole lot of salary cap either.
Teams
so
can
you
make
have to
it
try
work,
and
though.
make it work. Yeah, but I mean, what are you going to do? What else do you have in value that you can drop off?
You renegotiate contracts.
Besides Nate Solder. And he already just renegotiated
Hey,
his
Washington
contract.
did it before. They renegotiated like 6-7 contracts, all signing bonus money, and then converted in the cap
Some
numbers
people are
were
talking
like
about
$2 million.
Washington potentially being a landing spot here for
What's
Russell
that?
Wilson. Washington football team. But
it's a
how much
possibility.
do they believe in Heineke now? If you could still get even Heineke, that's the thing. If they start to win here, like they've been, and take this and really press the Dallas Cowboys for this division, then that's even
it's encouraging.
It's encouraging for Heineke and them to say, maybe we got this guy, and we've got him on the cheap right now before we have to pay a quarterback. That's the best type of situation. That's why the Seahawks were able to win the Super Bowl. They had Russell Wilson on the cheap still and a lot of young talent and make that push early. And then when they started to get some of those bigger contracts and things like that, that's when they had to try and rearrange things and shift along. I think that's what the Washington football would like to do right now.
It's funny about Seattle, like you just mentioned about their formula for winning a chip and everything, but that team was mostly defense. It was the reason why they won that game. You look back at that offense, and it was kind of the same offense that they're running now, different personnel, but kind of the same thing. You had Doug Baldwin, who was their go-to guy, and then they had their second guy in Tyler
Lynch
Lockett.
too, which he had a good running game, which they still have a decent running game now, not so much with some of the injuries,
right?
But they know how to run the ball though too as well.
But their offensive line was terrible back then too. It wasn't even good. So
yeah,
I mean,
it's not as bad as now.
I'm telling you right now that offensive line wasn't that good either. So I mean, it's a very similar offense already. I would say this. I would say DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett together are better than Doug Baldwin and
well, they even had Lockett there before.
Lockett, I think, was
too.
there a little bit. But that's what I mean. It's a little bit different, but at the same time, it's kind of the same formula on how they win games. It's just the defensive side of the ball is not up to that elite status like they once were when they had all those big-time names. So, I mean,
they had David Moore, I think, before then, too, back then.
It.
That's what it was. Yep.
He was another guy. He was underrated, too.
Who knows? I mean, what else is there out there? I mean, there's even talks that potentially Carolina, because, Carolina might be a spot because now they are reverting to P.J. Walker again now after the whole quick Cam Newton experiment now.
Cam's back in.
Since when?
They say he's going to be starting this week.
I heard they were going to P.J. Walker now.
They only went to P.J. Walker last week.
No, I heard that, but I heard now moving forward they're going to go with P.J. again.
That's a terrible decision if that's true.
I don't know again, but that's the funny thing.
I mean, that's the
about
thing
this situation
with Cam Newton. Listen, they benched him because this ain't working. That we're just going to bench him or whatever. And then later on this week, maybe a day or two ago, they already announced like Cam Newton was going to be coming back, definitely going to be the starter. So I don't know what the discrepancy is.
Yeah.
Maybe there's mixing reports about that, but I think it would be absolutely asinine. Because they already
know what P.J. Walker is,
They already know what
right?
P.J. Walker's not the answer and can't make big plays.
Cam's ceiling is higher than that. You know what I mean? But I mean, in his lows are about as low as they are right now.
When Cam came in and started to grasp that offense, for 2 weeks, he was actually playing pretty darn well in this offense and was lighting other teams up. And then just this past week, he struggled big time, and that's because Cam cannot play from behind. You cannot ask Cam Newton to bring your team back and throw the football 50, 60 times to come back and score 3 touchdowns in a row to get back into the game.
All right, Paul Matty's in the house with us tonight. He says, what's up? He didn't say hi from Florida this week. Something different.
Paul, what's going on?
He's saying, what's up? All right.
What's up, Paul?
Gaz is in the house with us tonight, too, as well.
What up, guys?
There you go. He says, who is using their finger worse this season, Russell Wilson or Urban Meyer?
I would say Urban Meyer.
Oh, man. No good. Yeah, Urban
Meyer. It's
an
easy one.
I can give a finger to Urban Meyer. Absolutely. Oh, by the way, it's cold down here, so I'm not exposing it. But I've got my Michigan shirt on, so here's the finger to all you Ohio State assholes out there that always bust my chops.
Oh, there we go. We just lost some
fans. Don Webb. Sorry, Mike Tackett. Whatever. You're my boy though, so we're still gonna be friends. But
I don't know about that.
You bust my chops. Hey, let me have my one time. And I'm not out there, being terrible memes out there for you guys and stuff like that. But we finally got one on you guys. Yes, it's been so many 10, 13 years, but whatever. We got one finally.
We got one after a decade.
This was a good year then for me. My Braves win, and then Michigan beats Ohio State. That's all I can ask for. There we go. So pleasure having you guys in there.
You could ask for more.
You could ask
for the Giants to start winning games.
The Bulls, we're Chicago Bulls fans. The Bulls are playing good right now, knock on wood, but hopefully that'll be nice, though, too. I mean, all right, that makes me feel better, being a Giants fan. There's nothing positive that comes out of that ever. So if I can gear towards those other sports, I'm still not going to really watch them, but okay, I'll still follow them a little bit and see what's going on with that. But
Right.
But definitely. So, yeah, Russell Wilson, I mean, he can go anywhere. Paul Matty says Urban Meyer to Notre Dame. That would be terrible again. And then I feel bad for Notre Dame, but I don't really like Notre Dame either. So I mean, congratulations. Sure, that would be wonderful, especially for him. But I don't know.
Urban Meyer belongs in college football if he wants to coach. He could coach anywhere in college. He was a phenomenal coach in college. There was no doubt about that. The only problem for Urban Meyer,
controversy behind him, though.
The problem with Urban Meyer in college was that he had medical issues, and that's what I thought was going to affect him in the NFL. Is because when he started to get those medical issues and everything, and high stress, and and it was revolved around that. Guy almost had a stroke, for God's sakes, because of everything, and then. He had to leave the game of college, and then he went to the booth, and then he was happy with the booth, and then all of a sudden Jacksonville comes backing up the Brinks truck and said, "Hey, come coach our team, and here's a bunch of money. Come coach our team." And he's just not
big
an
name.
NFL caliber. He's not an NFL caliber type of coach, and it happens to a lot of college coaches. It just does. Once in a while, you find a good one like Matt Rule. Matt Rule came right from college and went right to the Carolina Panthers, and he's doing well.
But Paul Benny says Urban only had hemorrhoids.
But the thing is I don't think after this stint with Jacksonville, I don't think he should coach anymore. I think he should just go back to the booth and stick with that. Because honestly, I mean, I do think he could if he wanted to. It's just, I don't know. You've been out of the college coaching game for a little bit. Not to say you couldn't get back into it, but then you taking it a different venture into NFL, which is big boys club, and a lot of college coaches don't survive it, and he's one of them. So just take the rest of your career easy. Go back into the booth, make some money that way, and be stress free.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we're Paul, thanks for joining with the group here with us. We were just talking about Russell Wilson and potential landing spots. A couple guys out there, Chris Simpson, Brandon, they're all thinking that New York Giants thing could be a thing, especially if we talk into existence. Like I said, as a Giants fan, that would be great, and I wonder what the trade value would be, what would happen to make that happen. Something's got to be better than what we have right now. So, but who knows? Then like you said, the GM. Who's the GM going to be then? Is he going to stick with Joe Judge? Because that's what they're looking at. Is Dave Gettleman's going to step down, basically? A nice way of saying walking out. I like how that. By the way, now the Giants put things afterwards. It's like I don't know if a lot of other organizations do it. They probably do it that same way. But you hear over the wire. Jason Garrett fired in New York, but fired this and this, and the Giants release a thing like on Instagram or whatever, like they have parted ways with Jason Garrett. It's like parted ways. That's a nice way to put it. I guess that's funny, and that's a nice way to put it.
But that's where the
and that's what they're probably going to happen with Dave Gettleman. They're going to be like, he's going to step down there, and I'm going to fire him. I think there's like, all right, you're going to do a whole honorable. Let's just step away. You just admit that you made some mistakes a little bit, step down, and then we're going to find somebody. But now you got to find somebody that is happy with Joe Judge. It's got to be, because if he's not, then he's got to have problems. Not like the guys that he has want to make changes. And we saw what happened when the Jets tried to do something like that, butted heads with Rex Ryan, and that didn't happen. So then he was out quick in a big debacle, and then you're stuck for another couple of years after.
It's about how it's reported. So when you have the New York media, they're very brutal. They're going to say fired, executed, like all these, very outlandish type of terms to just say, okay, well, basically he got let go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you go to a different source like USA Today or something, they might say, oh, well, the Giants have parted ways with, you know what I mean? So it's all about where it gets reported and who reports it and how they word it. But
except for if it's from the Washington Post, then it's all fake.
But in the end, it is what it is. Like, listen, he's out. He's outworn his welcome in New York. And yes, has he done some good things? Sure, he's done some good things, but not enough to keep his job. You know what I mean? So it's like you look at this offensive line, and we've talked about it off the air many times about how the Giants need to get back to having that beefy O-line, that O-line that can protect, that can open up running lanes and all that. And to this day, they've only drafted one high-caliber offensive lineman. You know what I mean? So it's like, Gettleman. I understand.
They had some there that they could have grabbed too. Yeah.
I understand you wanted to go and get Kenny Galladay, and you wanted to go and get some, a few pieces here and there to kind of surround Daniel Jones with. But the key thing is that you need that protection, and so far they are not there yet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at this point, I would have been a better GM because, with the picks that we were talking about throughout these past couple drafts, if we had all those guys and it worked, I mean, it would have been stupendous. You know what I mean? But it just had a different idea what. And, we'd seen this a bunch of times in the draft where you're thinking somebody's going to go like, oh, this is where they're at. And then a name comes out of nowhere. And you're like Colton Miller. You're like, what? Where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? So you're like, dude, he was here though. But what do you see in this guy now?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? And now we will lay where we lay. But again, who's going to come in, and will they be willing to pull the trigger on a Russell Wilson trade?
I think a new GM that comes into New York is going to make a big splash.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to gain a lot of the confidence and a lot of the respect from fans right away. And this is the kind of move that you could pull off because, let's face it, Giants fans across the board are done with Daniel Jones. They've had it. He turns the ball over. He continually makes bad decision after bad decision. And now at this point, they off with his head. They're done. They want a different quarterback. They want someone else to lead this team. And this team is not that far from being, competitive in this division and possibly making the playoffs. It's just they need that secure that quarterback that can it doesn't even have to be elite right away. If you add a Russell Wilson, or even if you get a guy who's comparable enough to kind of take the reins and not make mistakes, that's really what the Giants need right now. They need some security here for this position, and until they get that, they're going to continue to struggle. We've talked about this numerous times on past shows about how important the quarterback position is to a franchise. And when you have one, you hold on to it as long as you can. And you ride that wave. You know what I mean? Look at New England Patriots were absolutely terrible. Mm-hmm. Terrible. They could not win games. They draft Tom Brady. Nobody knew what they had. And then they developed him, and then all of a sudden, that team started to they added their pieces slowly but surely, and that team in a couple years' time started to win some games, and then they won more games the following year, and then they just became this juggernaut of an organization. And they just continued to ride that wave as long as they could until they parted ways.
Well, they were getting there before that because they had appeared in a Super Bowl with Drew Bledsoe just soon before they had Tom Brady. And remember, they were in a playoff game when Tom Brady ended up coming in and winning the Super Bowl that particular year. So they weren't terrible then.
Saying,
they were already good for a few years. But it is an important situation.
And you bring it in.
If you look at what they had as opposed to last year trying to go back and forth from Cam Newton to Jarrett Stidham, and then now you found a rookie and Mac Jones, and now look the way they look now, and they're winning, and now in the lead of that division, it looks like they're going to probably take the division. I mean, that is a nice sign, and that's what you're kind of talking about too as well. Drafting that young guy, having him start out and connect right away and lead you to where you need to be.
And look at Arizona Cardinals. When they drafted Josh Rosen, they thought he was going to be their guy, and then they got a new coaching staff, a new regime comes in. They're like, he doesn't really fit my offensive
just
system.
Pulled the trigger like that.
He doesn't really fit my offensive system. I want this kid. If he comes out in the draft, I want him. So they just did anything they could, and the They end up getting Kyler Murray in the draft. He comes in the draft. They draft him, and then they move on from Rosen.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you know it? They took a lot of heat for it because they're like, oh, what are they doing? They're moving on from this young quarterback. They bring in Kyler Murray, and it worked out great. So now everyone's praising them, right? Now everyone's like, oh man, they're geniuses. But this is the thing: is you have to, once you find that quarterback that either A, fits your system, or something you see in him that gives you all the confidence in the world, like this guy could take us to the next level. You go and get him, and you ride that wave. Mm-hmm. And that's what a lot of teams struggle with, is that quarterback position. And until they get it, and until they get it right, they're going to continue to lose games.
Right, and you know what seems to be the formula even right now is multiple sport star athletes. If you look at Patrick Mahomes, played multiple sports. Russell Wilson played multiple sports. Kyler Murray, multiple sports. And they're all successful right now. So that seems like to be even the trend for some of these GMs to go and grab some guys like that. Because, again, it's one thing to learn an NFL playbook and an offense and read defenses and stuff like that. But when you can do that and go far in the NFL or even college or high school, but then do it same thing in baseball and then maybe basketball too as well. Be productive in all sports, not just one. I mean, that shows how smart you are too as well, and make the right decisions. And I think that's what some of these GMs are looking to as well.
I think that's kind of like a double-edged sword. I mean, there's a lot more players in the NFL today that are not multi-sport athletes. But the thing is when you have a multi-sport athlete, there's just something about them that makes them tick. You know what I mean? And it's going a little bit towards your point, but at the same time, I want to make this clear that it's not like, oh, everyone's going to look for multi-sport athletes only.
But I think it seems like a good mold for a quarterback.
If you're successful in that position, then teams are going to be bringing you in.
Each sport, yeah.
It's not. I don't feel like it's something like, oh, well, if you play tennis, golf, baseball, and basketball, and you also play football. You go into the baseball draft, teams are going to just be looking for that guy that plays all the different sports. I just don't. I don't think it's a
hear you there, because a lot of different guys like to play it on the side. I mean, look at Tony Romo, was really great at golf. Was decent at quarterback. Couldn't really win that many playoff games and things like that, but still was a decent player. But nothing near like what you're saying is like this has got to be a top prospect type of guy. But you saw it. I mean, Russell Wilson could have went and played for another team. Kyler Murray, I think he got drafted by the Oakland Athletics and then decided to enter the NFL draft late. So,
which is crazy to me.
Which is it's nuts. But, I mean, that's what type of elite type of play he had in each one. And that's what I'm saying. If you have elite play in each of the sports, it means that you're dedicated to that sport at each time. And you're throughout your high school career, you're handling all those different types of sports, excelling at it. And then if you look at their academics, you could see that they excelled at that as well. So, I mean, that just shows hard work, and hard work pays in the NFL and all these other sports as well. By the way, Paul Matty, sorry about your comment out there. We're leaving it out there. But he says, I would love to see Russell Wilson replace Brady next year with that receiving core. Yeah, everybody would probably love that, but I mean,
but that's the thing is what happens with Brady,
right? But
what happens with Brady after this season, guys? I mean, listen, he won a chip with Tampa Bay, comes back again. I thought for sure, like if he won the chip, he may, walk into the sunset and just be like, "Yep, I'm retiring on top." But he decides to return in Tampa for another run, and now what happens now? Like. Because he knows every year is another year. He gets older every year, and he's
looking rough this year, man.
He says he feels great at his age. He says he feels like he can still play, and that he loves and enjoys playing still, and that's really kind of what's driving him to keep playing the game of football. But there's got to be at some point where family kicks in the door, like his wife Jezebel and his kid and his daughters, and everyone's at home like. when are you going to stay home? You know what I mean? When are you going to come home?
Yeah, because she handles a lot of the. I mean, she's a successful, person
model,
too as well, in what she does too, and clothing lines and stuff. But she also handles all the kids most of the time. You've heard her vocally out there complain about it. Yeah. So I mean, he needs to handle some of that too as well. But
so if Brady is done after this year, like Paul just
said too as well,
in his opinion, he thinks he's done this year. If that's the case, win, lose, or draw. And that now you have a team that's already ready for winning right now, and a fairly young team at that. You just need another quarterback to plug in, and that could be another destination where Russell Wilson could potentially think about.
Who knows? Again, and you've seen, talk about teams wheel and deal and trying to make contracts happen. That's been a team that they've been able to get the talent there, take it at all friendly contracts, and get everybody together to go there and trying to win a ring with the guy who ends up winning all the rings, Tom Brady.
And Tampa Bay is the perfect example of how you make the cap work for you, because just when you think, oh, well, they don't – listen, we looked at it last year. They didn't have much cap space. And we're like, how are they going to re-sign all these guys? Chris Godwin. You know what I mean? I just forgot his name, the D-end for them.
Shaq?
I forgot. Shaq
Barrett?
Shaq Barrett, yeah. Shaq Barrett. He's another one that was going to command big money. Sue was a free agent, but he wasn't going to be a huge, money guy.
Right.
But still, they had a lot of guys that they had to worry about in coming back or re-signing back. And to my surprise, I thought they were going to lose like maybe a couple big names, but no, they kept everybody. They brought Antonio Brown back. They brought all these guys they brought back. And I was like, how did they? It's because they just know how to construct contracts and work them into – because mostly what they were doing is paying a lot of upfront money, like signing bonuses and incentive-laden bonuses in their contracts to keep that cap number low, but they're still going to get paid money. You know what I mean? They're still going to get paid a lot of money. So it appeased both sides. Like, hey, we just worry about the cap number. We want to keep you. And it's all worked out. They found a way, and all teams can do this. It's not like only one organization, two organizations in the NFL can figure this out. Anybody can figure out how to do this. It's just a matter of is your owner down with it, because it's going to come out, a lot of money is going to come out of his pocket in terms of signing bonuses, and and how good is your GM in constructing contracts, or whoever's in the front office that does that. So
and,
they can figure it out.
Yeah, and Paul says Brady took less money too as well to help make that work. Yeah, a lot of people restructured.
Brady's been doing that his whole career.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's the one thing about him being successful, and that was a big key that people forget about. You see all these other guys. That's what always bothers me when the media comes out and is like, "Oh, you got to pay this guy. This is a big deal." This was the thing with Dak Prescott. I thought if the Cowboys were smart again, which they were trying to do, they were trying to keep it lower. And
they just couldn't get it there.
From Dak's location, they were trying to go higher, and it was trying to get it all done, whatever. And everybody's saying you got to pay him, and I understand that and stuff, but. You see what the Patriots did. They had the model of it all. Find guys that would play hard, do well at your position, and work together as a team. And it ended up working and Brady took less money, all the time. He even restructured his contract to take less money the one year to try and re-sign Wes Welker, and then the Patriots went ahead and got rid of Wes Welker anyways.
Traded him away.
Yeah, and I thought that was going to be when Tom Brady's like, well, F you guys, and I just did this just for that.
Yeah.
And you got rid of him anyways, but stuck around and kept it going. And the fact that they have the man in the arena and everything that they're doing every week, which really sickens me. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth. But it just shows me now. It seems like they're doing the swan song and the last hurrah for him this year too as well. Like they already had an inside when they decided to do this thing and said, Tom, you're probably going to hang up after this year, right? Like, let's just go. Let's do this. We'll give you this. And then every week whenever he comes on, it's got to be some kind of momentous moment that they bring up. Remember back when Tom Brady did this and all this and we have to relive it over and over again. And it just gets on my nerves. Yeah, it's just I'm done with the story, with Tom Brady. And I hope, he's done after this year. That would change up some things too.
Well, thinking about being done, we all there's a really strong possibility, almost a certainty, that Aaron Rodgers is done in Green Bay after this season. He moved on. He redid his contract. He said, I'm not coming back to play for Green Bay unless you guys make some changes. They go out, they pull off a move for, Randall Cobb.
Randall Cobb was the big move.
Look at that. His one of his favorite targets from yesteryear, and bring him back to Green Bay. And they also redid his contract and made it to where they cannot tag him at the end of the season. So that means that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a free agent. Now, there's nothing to say that he can't, decide to come back to Green Bay and maybe do a new deal. But all indications are pointing that he is ready and is willing to go and see what is going to be out there for the open market for Aaron Rodgers. A lot of teams, listen, we already mentioned a couple of them that could be looking for quarterbacks. I mean, hell, we'll just throw New York into that list too. Maybe New York would be interested in bringing Rodgers up there. Maybe the Saints are going to be interested in Rodgers, bringing his services down south. And again, Tampa Bay, that's another one. Houston, but I don't see him wanting to go there. But Rodgers, what's he going to do next season? So, listen, we all know that he's kind of fed up with that organization, with the GM mostly, about him asking constantly, time and time again, I need help. Give me some more weapons. I know I have Devontae, but I need someone opposite side of him to take that pressure off where I can distribute the football as needed. And to this point, what did they do to Aaron Rodgers? Well, first they had a first-round pick, and they decided to go with what looked like in Jordan Love, what looked like his replacement. They drafted another quarterback. Well, that doesn't really help me. It helps you guys maybe down the road, but it doesn't help me. And then in the second round, they drafted another running back besides already having Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, wait, guys, what's going on? What? I asked you for help. You give me two positions that we already have. Mm-hmm. So that's where he kind of got frustrated, and he was like, well, this GM clearly doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't want to help me. I'm getting frustrated. I want out of here. Mm-hmm. To, okay, I'll come back. I'll play for the rest of this season. I'm a free agent after this is all said and done. And now it's going to be interesting because Denver Broncos were interested in Aaron Jones too, and possibly trading for him. There was a few teams that were kind of, it was a little lukewarm at best for interest because they really weren't sure if Green Bay was serious enough to trade him, which we found out they never were.
Yeah.
And now that Aaron Rodgers has his freedom, guy can choose really wherever he wants to go. Obviously, he's going to want to go to maybe the best, the best team that not only fits what he's looking for in terms of weapons to be able to throw to, a halfway decent offensive line, But, he's going to get his pick of the lottery for sure.
Right, and that's the thing. When you talk about Aaron Rodgers, he's one of the top quarterbacks ever to play, really, at this point. Because, again, look at his QBR for his career. It's amazing. Really doesn't turn the ball over. Only had a few down years where he was injured, and I think that's why that draft pick came into play. That particular year before, I think, is when he had that injury against the Minnesota Vikings. Remember, he took that big hit and went down. And I think they're just kind of like, I don't know, was it time to move on for him right now ahead of time? You already had the new Matt LaFleur in there. He had his new jazzy type of offense he wanted to put in there. Wasn't really working out with Aaron Rodgers. They were kind of butting heads on wanted to take audibles away from Aaron Rodgers and things like that.
Initially,
in the offense, initially, right? And then it just ended up ironing itself out, except for the fact that he knew what the GM was trying to do too as well, and said, Aaron Rodgers, he's a big, strong-headed type of guy, always plays with a chip on his shoulder, always has that self about him too as well. Not only losing ground in draft class too, not getting picked early, but dropping and falling to the Green Bay Packers. He complains about people thinking that he should be taller when they meet him and stuff like that. So he's always got this chip on his shoulders about himself. And he felt hurt about this whole thing. Again, like, I just wanted some help. Now you're going to listen to me or whatever, but now it's too late. And look at the way he's playing still. He still is able to make any team great depending on what, the offensive line is or what kind of weapons. I mean, how many guys have been injured consistently for this Green Bay offensive line? I mean, every year it's multiple guys, Bakhtiari,
somebody's
up and down
always
and
injured.
things like that. It's always something. And he makes plays not only with his legs, but his big playability with his arm and getting it done. But now, again, like I was saying before, a top-rated quarterback right here looking now to maybe cash in on a bigger deal to where he can choose where he wants to. What's a good situation? What kind of weapons do you have? What can you do for me? And he kind of, I think, wants to be, courted in a sense and make it work.
It's funny. Aaron Rodgers at this point is crossing his arms with a big smile.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
After now the Green Bay's seen Jordan Love play a couple times.
Oh, that makes it that much sweeter.
And how atrocious he looked. Like he's not even ready yet. Rodgers like, oh, well, let's see what happens in the offseason now. Because now it's like, if you want Rodgers to come back to Green Bay, now it's like, well, you got to give me a raise. You got to pay. You got to make me the highest paid quarterback now. You know what I mean? And that's where we're headed. If you want his services back, and that could. And listen, their cap space would be damaged, and if that was to happen, they might not have enough with everybody else that they might have to re-sign. They might not have enough to keep Devontae Adams, who's also on a contract year. Now, Adams they could tag, because he's still under that current contract of his. However, Rodgers is a free man. So if he really doesn't even want to go back, he doesn't have to, obviously. He can pick whichever one of these other teams he wants to go to. But that's the interesting part of this whole situation right now, is that Rodgers has free will. Devontae Adams is not going to want to stay if Rodgers leaves. And if that's the case, and just say, for example, if Rodgers does decide to leave and Devontae's stuck because they tag him, this is going to be pretty bad. I mean, Devontae's going to be upset. He's going to have to wait another season till he becomes a free agent. But at the age that he is, he's like 30-plus years old right now. He'll be 31, I think, next year, maybe 32. I can't remember what exact age is. But do you want to tag a player with that kind of age now, even though he's still a baller? He still can play phenomenally every single week. But do you want to invest that kind of money and tag him for just a one-year rental? Or do you say, okay, we're going to move on. We're going to try to kind of do like a slight rebuild, a retool, if you will, this next offseason and see what they can do. But I think that, there's some darker days ahead for Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely. And some people said, winning, say they do go and win the champion this year, the championship, that maybe meant some things like, hey, we could still win now. Look, if we just did this. But I think bridges are burned and things like that. And like I was saying before, I think Aaron Rodgers now even needs to look and find a place that fits for him, because I think legacy is a big thing to him as well. He's not going to be able to catch anybody like Tom Brady and stuff like that, but guys that have that legacy, Peyton Manning needed one more ring too as well under his belt. I think him just stuck with that one ring. I think he wants more and be able to finish strong with something like that.
Of course, because that's the end result. Everybody wants to win more championships, but Aaron Rodgers, he's 37. Tom Brady's 44, going to be 45 next year. He still could make up some ground there. I mean,
a little bit, but even with the long hair though and that beard though, he looks a lot rougher now though, don't he? He's looking closer to that type of hippie. I mean, he fits that hippie on the freaking State Farm commercials really well, right?
But I'll say this real quick about Rodgers is, I'm sorry, but I think Rodgers still is the best quarterback in the league.
I have him there
because I'll tell you right now.
Yeah.
Even watching him now in Green Bay, where he still only has basically Adams and everybody else, he fits the ball in such tight spaces where you do not think a quarterback should be able to get a ball completed. And it's almost like he's standing over the receiver and just drops it in. It's absolutely freaking amazing how accurate and a phenomenal arm talent that he is. Smart quarterback, is mobile enough, and makes literally any throw you can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Mike Tackett in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Mike?
He says, happy birthday, Eve. I did see that. I got the notifications on my Facebook.
That's right, Mike. We'll be sending you a happy birthday.
You have balls. I like balls.
And I like Mike Tackett. And happy birthday to Mike Tackett out there. It's his birthday, Eve. He's been enjoying A-Rod's last ride, he says, and he goes, and hope he takes Adams with him. How about that? They deserve to be successful together. But damn, this is fun. Brian G needs to go. Yeah. There you go.
And Aaron Rodgers agrees.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, what has he really done as a GM?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Then he's got his picks right here. He went 10-4, making me 111 and 67 and 1 on the year. So there you go.
Way better than me.
He did well. Yeah, 1 better or 2. Yeah, 2 better than you. But he did good that last week. It was nice. So we're getting close here. I gained 1 more. 1 on Joe. If the damn what freaking game was that? The 49ers, was it? Which one was it? It was, oh, man, what one? The Denver game. If the Chargers were able to win that game, I could have got my 3 back on you within that 1 week.
But Denver,
it would have been amazing. But
when
just
you
like
go
that,
into Denver,
that's
why I picked Denver. Is because they were going to Denver.
Yeah.
And it's a tough place to play. It really is.
It is. But, I mean, I think even Justin Herbert shot himself in the foot too many times in that game. But we'll get to your picks in a little bit, Mike. When we don't go to our pick segment, he says the cloud over Rodgers' head is that he has as many NFC championships as Rex Grossman. And then Brandon says, we will take them in San Fran. There you go. And then some people are talking about that now, too. That's another situation that's been popping up. As far as Rex Grossman, I think some of these people don't even know who Rex Grossman is, especially these younger guys. They don't remember seeing him in the Super Bowl against Peyton Manning. That's kind of tarnished, I think, Peyton Manning's legacy in a sense, of championships. I already know Peyton Manning's great, and everybody should already know that. You know what I mean? But they end up playing Rex Grossman in the Chicago Bears in that Super Bowl, and it's kind of like, it's not really that great. Their defense was great, special teams with, Devin Hester, but again, Peyton Manning taking care of business.
Something that I'll say about that comment, we'll take them in San Fran. Now, last year, there was rumors of that happening, like maybe Niners can go ahead and pull off a trade for Rodgers.
Seemed like they were on the horn,
which would have been okay. Mm-hmm. But now I feel like since they invested in the draft with Trey Lance, they've already kind of crowned the next starter for the Niners. Now, that's not to say like maybe if the coaching staff for the Niners come to the conclusion like maybe after a whole year of developing with Trey Lance stuff, maybe they don't see enough in him, and maybe they pull a trigger pretty kind of quickly and go and get an Aaron Rodgers, but. Because they made that big investment, that was a huge investment to go out and get that quarterback that high, and obviously they believe enough in Trey Lance with that draft pick that is going to be their guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't see him going anywhere. I don't see them moving on from him, and they're going to stick with him for the next couple to 3 to 4 years and see what he can do.
Brandon says here, I think he means about Trey Lance, he can watch the magician work.
That's true, but that's the thing, is that investment, they're kind of taking themselves out of that race for Rodgers. I don't see it happening because of that investment in Trey Lance right now, as a rookie stage right now that he's in. I don't think they're going to rush to the conclusion of saying, "Oh, well, we can get Rodgers and he'll just learn behind Rodgers for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years." You know what I mean? So by the time he sees the field, you know what I mean. He's already going to be like, mid-20s, late 20s or something, and before he even gets to start, I don't see that happening.
And the fact that they're saying now it's coming out, Ian Rappaport even today said that now it's pretty much official that the 49ers had said they're going to be going forward with Trey Lance, and Jimmy G would probably be officially on the trading block. So now there's teams when it's going to be happening. You know what I mean? Like, well, at the end of the season, I think is when they're going to go. And
hey, Brandon, can you do me a favor? Because I know he's a Niners fan.
Mm-hmm.
How much? How many years are left on Jimmy G's contract? Because I know it's getting close.
It's got to be close. By the way, on my Nate Solder thing, when I looked it up, he's a free agent next year. Nate Solder. So Nate Solder for the Giants,
so his
contract's off the book after this season.
Yeah.
So that would help out big. So if you guys are talking about that Russell Wilson situation, that helps out big too for them not having Nate Solder there, and then maybe they can even grab another tackle in the
that move right there is probably why Dave Gettleman's out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That one
right
alone. I know. A man can dream, I think is what he's saying. He's like, bad move, I think. With going forward with Trey Lance and trading. Yeah. Again, but I can't.
You got to, I understand, like, especially as a fan of your own team.
Talking about
I know it was 5 years. Really? It's that long? So Jimmy G's going to be with the Niners for 5 years?
5 years. I know it was right here. I'm looking up right now. He's 30 right now, by the way.
So
his contract is up in 2022 is his last year. So next year is his last year. So he's on his last year.
Oh, okay.
As far as I've seen right here, he says 2024, but I'm looking at a good source right here, by the way, overthecap.com. It says here 2022.
All right. So, I mean, if that is official and accurate, then there's nothing to worry about. Then it is. Jimmy G is going to be gone.
But they'll be paying him $24 million next year. So that'd be like a lot of dead money.
But, I mean,
25.6 dead money.
If they cut him?
If they cut him.
So when's his last year?
Next year, he's 31.
After next season.
After the end of next season, he's a free agent. So his last year is this coming season, 2022.
Do me a favor. So what is that set at? Is that
he was on over the cap? I don't know. I'm looking at it right now. That's weird.
Is that pre-June cut or is that post-June first cut?
This is cut pre-June.
So look at post and see if it changes.
Post, so then it's at the post-June. All right. But
yeah, I mean that makes sense. Now it's like, okay, Jimmy G will be the veteran backup until his contract is over with, or maybe they renegotiate that contract to make it cap friendly enough for them to even release him. Or maybe they pull off a trade next year.
February 8th, 2019.
Hey, I know who's interested. Bill Belichick would love to have him back.
Yeah, interesting. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. It shows that he's on over the cap here, and I'm looking at it here. And it says,
I don't know.
Yeah, it says his contract Brandon. 2018 to 2022. I don't know.
Trade him to the Saints, he says.
Trade him to the Saints.
I don't think it's a good fit. I don't think it's a good fit.
That's the thing about trying to find fits for Jimmy G. Because
Jimmy G is that. Listen, because here's the thing: Jimmy G is good for that. I don't want to say the Patriots offense but it's very similar. It's that short game, that short to intermediate game, an offense that can get the ball out of his hands quickly, you know what I mean, and just kind of nitpick down the field. That's the kind of offense that he thrives in.
Right.
He's not the type of guy that's going to drop back, wait 5 seconds, okay, then chuck it up deep. You know what I mean? He's not that type of guy. But Brandon Matthew also comments, he says maybe Pittsburgh with Big Ben. Maybe. That could work.
Be good.
That offense could work for Jimmy G. That's a good point.
I like that one.
I really like that one, actually, because to be honest with you, I don't know why the Steelers were even thinking about re-signing Big Ben. But he's on the books for the next 2 or 3 years.
No, he's a free agent next year.
So he didn't sign a contract.
No, because I was looking at that as leftover free agents that are going to be happening this year. He was at the top of the list.
Don't sign him.
Oh yeah, I know. I've seen he's
but
there.
But that's the thing, is
a lot of backups.
But after Big Ben goes, it's like
you got to grab somebody like that.
And Pittsburgh actually should be on the phone right now for next offseason and saying, "Hey, can we get a deal, verbally agreed to, so when the season's over, we can maybe get this deal done and we get Jimmy G?"
Yeah, I think that's a good investment for them, absolutely. Because, again, I don't think he's a game changer.
Maybe
that's
Big Ben
elevate your team, but definitely better.
Now the possibilities are in.
Point.
I'll tell you right now, I think this is going to be the craziest quarterback carousel in 2022 because a lot of things are going to be changing. And if Big Ben is a free agent, in fact, he could go to maybe Denver Broncos. Maybe they pick him up on the cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to be interesting to see where everybody would go.
Like, that would be like the least interesting conversation, I think, of where Big Ben would be. Landing spots for Big Ben. Like, I have no idea.
Anybody that needs a quarterback. I mean,
where? Like,
Denver.
That just needs maybe Detroit? I don't know. Would they do that?
No, Detroit doesn't need a quarterback.
I'm just trying to think where it would even fit. The Jets.
Brandon just says agreed. A lot of movement in 2022.
Home. Agreed.
Ben is going to a retirement home.
Yeah, absolutely.
He should.
Yeah. It's so totally. The kids like it. They're cheering. Yay! There he goes. Bye, Ben. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And like I said, we try to be the most interactive talk show right there on the internet with Facebook Live and YouTube as well. We're also on Twitch, by the way. If you guys are out there on Twitch, definitely give us a follow there as well. But right now I want to tell you guys about my friends at Colorize. Joe, they have 3 stores in upstate New York here, and I got a little hint on something. They might be starting another store, but we'll see about that. But Niskayuna, Queensbury, Clifton Park, check them out. I know you guys, thinking paint. Maybe I'll just go to Lowe's quick, get a color match there quick, do my room. This looks good. Go to these guys. Colorize. They are not only your main Benjamin Moore dealer, but as an independent dealer, they also have access to almost everything paint and finish related. They have expert color match guys. Talk to my guy Brett down there. I just saw him last week. He hooked me up with some great color there too as well. Talked about what I really wanted. Even when he mixed it, it's like, how's this look? I'm like, well, let's add a little bit of this. We'll do this. Boom. Took care of me. And again, they serve everybody from the paint professional like myself here, and even everybody to your do-it-yourselfer. Like I said, you got a project at home. Don't go to Lowe's where they got, hey, this guy that was working in electric or hardware, all of a sudden, hey, move him over to paint. Will you please mix some paint? There's a guy that wants something, and he's like, yeah, here, what do you want? Yeah, match this. Okay, sure. Dab it. Does that look right? See ya. Bye. You don't want that. You want to go to the paint professionals here, Colorize, where they try and do it right the first time when you're there. 3 locations, Clifton Park, Niskayuna, Queensbury. Go to mycolorize.com. Check them out there. Colorize, the right paint, color, and advice from local professionals who really care. That's right. All right, so
can they do like a custom paint job for me?
Yeah,
can they
if
do
you
like a
bring
custom
in
paint?
Something like if we like our desk here, this blue. If you bring a chip, they'll show it.
We want this blue, but we want a little silver flake in it. Can they do that? Can they make it
like? Yeah, they actually have that because you know what? They are partnered with not only Ben Moore. They deal with this company called Gemini, who also has Circa products and some other things. Who have that stuff. I think. What is it called? Magna Pearl. I think it has the silver metal flake in it. I've used it before. You add a couple of teaspoons of that to any clear coat and stuff, so they can give you your underlying paint with the undercoat, and then do a clear coat over top of it with the metal flake in it. Looks amazing.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely. And they will talk to you about that. You say, hey, can I do this? Check it out. And they said, actually, we have this product right here.
Nice.
Check it out. And they'll show you actually how to apply it too. They're just going like, here you go. Take this quart can and have fun. We're not going to tell you how to use it, by the way, And that's the thing about Colorize. They're great. They're trying to help you out there so you know what you're doing and put out the best product that you're going to be happy with as well.
Excellent.
Yep, absolutely. So we were talking about the quarterback carousel that could potentially happen this offseason here. Aaron Rodgers, he was the big deal. Some people are trying to say maybe if they win here, is he going to stick around? Highly unlikely, again, because of the bridges that have been burned with them. We talked about Jimmy G too as well. That seems to be stirring up more. Carolina seems to be a name with Jimmy G as well too. We talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Carolina is definitely in need of a quarterback right now.
Well, they have Darnold. I mean, let's not be so quick to kind of brush him off. I think the only way that Carolina moves on from Sam Darnold is if they can get a major upgrade. They're not going to move on laterally for a Jimmy G who really honestly doesn't fit that offense. They attack down the field a lot, and Jimmy G's not that type of a quarterback. So unless they plan on overhauling their whole offense, which I don't see, I don't see Jimmy G. Jimmy G is going to have very limited spots to go. Is the bottom line.
And that's the thing. What are you really getting? What's the trade value going to be for it?
There's not going to be much.
Exactly.
It's not. I mean, is he still starter worthy? Sure. But he's not going to command a high draft pick or anything like that. Maybe at the most, maybe a third. At the least, maybe a sixth. I mean, to be honest, because a lot of times these veteran players, because of the contracts that they have, teams aren't willing to give that high-priced draft pick because now they got to absorb that contract as well. So it could be anywhere in that range for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, a lot of that talk there, but also one that I think some people are forgetting about just because of the court trial and all the things that have gone on or whatever. But we got Deshaun Watson out there, too, that's going to be out there probably looking for potential places to be traded to because, again, that's a burned bridge there with Houston. Don't know what's going on with the legal stuff. We've heard about Miami pressing and giving up 2 number ones or whatever.
Yeah, it never happened.
Never did. But we saw them now this season go back and forth between Tua and Brissett and people that don't believe in Tua, but then they'll pull out wins, so it's a debacle there. But there's a lot of other teams that need a quarterback too that would probably try and put whatever chips they can where they lie into this thing to make a bid on Deshaun Watson as well.
I think the Houston Texans organization has really just kind of ruined everything for themselves. You know what I mean? Over and over, time and time again, they make the wrong decisions. And it's hurting, and they just, I don't know, do they like pain? Do they like to just continually hurt their own organization? Because decision after decision that's made is not making that team better. It's actually deconstructing that organization. They send away Hopkins with Bill O'Brien when he was there. When he was, I don't know, after a losing season, was also promoted to be a GM. And after he had that power, he traded away a guy he just didn't like and didn't get along with, in DeAndre Hopkins, who just happened to be one of the best receivers in the game, and traded him away for a bag of peanuts and a running back who's always injured. So a lot of questionable decisions have been made thus far, and a lot of guys have been shipped out of there, in the past year alone. So now you look at Deshaun Watson is a possible trade candidate because Watson has stated he does not want a quarterback for this organization anymore. He wants out. He wants a trade. But then this whole circus happens, and he's in court. And he's facing, I think, 22 or 24 counts of domestic, is it abuse?
No, I think
or is it sexual abuse?
Yeah, sexual,
something like
harassment,
that.
But yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's sexual harassment type of deal.
Like, yeah.
But it's along that realm there. So now he's in court, and while he's in court, apparently he's had the capability to play if he wanted to, because the commissioner doesn't have enough evidence to say, well, you're on my exempt list, you can't play. So he could have played, but he doesn't want to play for Houston. So he's just been sitting out, going through his court deal, and in the meantime, you got teams calling Houston, hey, are you willing to trade him? No. Are you willing to trade him? No. Are you willing to trade him? No. They strung it out all the way until a week before the trade deadline, where teams started calling. They're like, we're open to it now. And then, well, it's got to start at 3 first-round draft picks. It's got to be the starting point to get Watson. So all the other teams kind of bowed out. They're like, wait,
like
3
most
first-rounders?
teams don't have that.
No way.
You're looking into
it's for 3 consecutive years.
2023, or like.
That's what most teams would do. It would be 3 consecutive years. So now the Dolphins have a lot of draft picks, and they're like, hey, we got quite a few coming up. We could do that. We could expend those, and we'll bring him in. And would you be interested in Tua? And Houston's like, no, we're not interested in Tua. Okay. We're ready to do this deal. What do you think? And it just kind of didn't go anywhere. I mean, there was not too much, give and go between those two organizations. And before you know it, the trade deadline expires. Miami still has Tua. He's their guy. And despite the injuries, Tua's been playing pretty well for Miami as a starter. So it's like, why would Miami, first of all, even entertain this when they just invested a high draft pick for Tua to be their quarterback? And now it's all of a sudden you want to jump ship this soon? And I get it. Like, Deshaun Watson is that kind of like that luxury pick, that diamond in the rough type of quarterback, the guy that everybody would love to have on their team. But now you got to give up assets, future assets, to get him. And it's kind of like a whole weird scenario. Like, why would you even entertain this? Because now you're forfeiting your future draft picks that you have a bunch of that you could even make this team better. Mm-hmm. And this team is growing. This team is not only really young, but it's starting to take shape. You go through another successful offseason, and wow, this Miami team could grow together and become really dangerous down the stretch. So for Deshaun Watson and what could possibly be happening to him, like, listen, this is not. And we've heard from many reports, out of NFL circles that Watson is in no shape or form where he's going to be traded. A lot of people were saying that before the trade deadline, came and went. Mm-hmm. But now that it's gone and he never got traded, now it's like, now you look towards the next offseason. That's when that's going to happen now because, one, he's got to get through this court process, We got to get a decision made. If he's guilty, then the NFL is going to step in, and who knows how long his suspension is going to be. Now, do you really want to trade for a quarterback that's going to be suspended for, who knows, 8 games, 12 games, maybe a year? Or is it going to be like he's not guilty, he comes back, the NFL's like, okay, well, he's not guilty, we can't really suspend him. Now you're going to get teams involved in for this whole like flexing of the muscles of draft picks and trying to get Deshaun Watson. If you're a quarterback needy team right now, and that is the one thing you need to become competitive, to become, one of those teams in the race next year, then you pull this deal off. Then you go ahead and be like, all right, we're going to forfeit the future. We're just going to send them what they want. We're going to get Watson, and we're going to be happy. But this is a very tricky situation. I for one, if I'm a GM and I really want Watson, it's going to be really hard for me to give up more than 2 first-rounders for this guy. To give up 3 first-rounders, that is a lot of investing into one player. I understand he's proven, but it's like, what could you possibly have done with that draft pick? You know what I mean? Later on. So this is an interesting thing of where this is going to take place, and what teams are going to stand in the front and say, we want him, we'll do whatever we need to get him, let's make this happen.
Plus, he's got to be accepting of it, too, and where he goes. That's the one thing I think that's an outlying factor because, there's a lot of teams that could probably put up some stuff. If you look at the New York Giants, they've got 2 first-round picks this year, that are right now. If you look at the Bears, they're not playing so well, so potentially between their pick that they get from the Bears and then the Giants, which they're terrible right now, too, as well, those are 2 probably top 10 picks this year in the first round if they now put those in. And then maybe next year's, do you see maybe the Giants being a team that would throw their hat into that and go with a younger quarterback that's still in his prime in Deshaun Watson and not somebody like Russell Wilson that's older and that they don't have to give up so much draft pick compensation?
For Watson?
Would they go in on Watson instead of somebody like a Russell Wilson?
No, because Russell Wilson wouldn't command as much. You're not going to have to give up.
I understand that, but he's older then, too. If you can all of a sudden go in with Deshaun Watson, though, and still have him for many years, this past of what Russell Wilson will give you right now?
The thing is Russell Wilson's going to play for a long time still. Like, he's only in his 30s. I get what you're saying. Deshaun Watson's 26 years old. He's got, another 10 years if he wanted to or more to play in this league, depending on health, obviously. But also, for Russell Wilson, he's what? What is he, 30 what?
I think he's just 30 on the dot. He might
30
be
on the dot?
yeah.
I think 30 on the dot, he's also got another 10 years. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you can get 10 years out of any one of these quarterbacks, but then it depends on leverage. It depends on how much you want to give up to get for Watson, or how much you want to give up for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is definitely not going to cost as much as Watson because he's young in his prime and already a proven quarterback after 4 seasons. So it comes to what you want to give up in draft picks and
he's 33,
players maybe.
33 actually.
Yeah, so he's still got 10 years. Quarterbacks
so
now
43 maybe.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Okay, let's
knows?
make the argument. Aaron Rodgers, 37. I could easily see him playing until 44, 45, like Tom Brady. It's
yeah.
So that's where we're kind of going. When you're an elite quarterback, when you're a really good quarterback in this league, you can play as long as you pretty much want until you start to show signs of falling short. So in terms of compensation, it becomes that debate of really how much do you want to give up? Because Watson, it sounds like Houston doesn't want to give him up for anything less than 3 first-rounders. And it's got to be more than that. They're asking for 3 first-rounders to start, and then who knows how many more picks after that. Like, is it going to be 3 first-rounders and 3 second-rounders or something crazy like that? It's absolutely absurd what they want, what they expect. But really, I think it's going to come down to is like a nice blend, a package. Like, okay, if you want to do 3 first-rounders, then you have to give us Watson and maybe another draft pick or something. Something's going to have to be worked out to where it's not going to be as much of a hit to whatever team trades for him.
Mm-hmm. Joe, let me tell you right now, though, it is getting cold out there. And the weather's changing, but you know what? It's weird actually around here in New York. We get it. It's like cold. We get the snow, and then a little bit of rain, and then it's a little warmer, but then it's cold again. It's the perfect weather just to get completely sick, and everybody think that it's COVID or whatever. It's just you're gonna get a cold. It's gonna be crazy. But why don't you tell everybody what's going on now here in upstate New York and with our buddies there at Johnstone Supply?
Yeah, winter's almost here, everybody. I know it's a shocker to you all that are in the Northeast, but it's getting near. It's getting close. It's already here, basically.
It is.
But quick thing, about your homes and everything. Does your furnace need to be replaced? Do you need to change those filters in the furnace or something like that, or you just need some questions answered about how to best maintain your furnace or whatnot? Well, if you're looking to upgrade your heating system or just need those few things replaced, Johnstone Supply in Troy, New York are the guys to go see. They'll make sure that your home is ready. They're definitely going to take care of you for the colder months ahead. They're a family-owned and operated business for many years. Johnstone Supply in Troy, New York has been helping upstate New York residents and the Northeast for decades. You can visit their store, which is on 6th Avenue in Troy, New York, for more information on how they can help you this fall. Or winter, I should say.
It's winter.
Whether it's finding the proper change for your filters, or making your home, more efficient and keeping it warm properly. Johnstone Supply in Troy staff can help you answer any questions that you may have. From George, Tom, and the rest of the staff, they're looking forward to helping you out. Follow them on Facebook or call them today at 518-272-5922. Johnstone Supply in Troy. They're right there for you for the winter months.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Johnstone Supply. It's getting cold out there. But now every week, this season, I've been doing my Missing Milk Carton Missing Player of the Week. And this week, it's not really that big of a surprise to everybody out there. This guy, we don't really like him that much anyways, but there it is. It's Cam Newton. He played horrible, putrid, where they had to pull him out and they put P.J. Walker in there, a guy who says after, a quarter of play says, I'm back, here I come, and really hasn't, done really a whole lot since even that first game a little bit for him. So Cam Newton, he's going to be my milk carton player of the week. Again, he was a fill-in for when they needed somebody. Sam Darnold, like you said, they signed him on to possibly be that guy, but then after multiple turnovers from him and now that injury, they just got the injury bug. And you see Christian McCaffrey now with them again injured again, and it shows you time and time again why you shouldn't even invest in some of those running backs and give them bigger money, because look what happened when you're only there half the time and you're such a valuable asset for them when you're on the field. That becomes a problem here and puts a lot of pressure on your quarterback. And when you don't have one like the Panthers do, this is what you get.
That's an interesting, take on that, because when you have a prolific running back like that, of course you're going to pay him to keep him there.
Him in, but
you got to keep him. You got to lock him in. You got to keep him. But listen,
but Chuba Hubbard plays well when he's in there now.
You can't predict injuries. When you have a stellar running back like that, you're not going to just let him walk into free agency because, he was out last year, so we're just going to give up on him. I understand, CMC has now had 2 consecutive injuries to kind of cost him some major time, and he sat out one whole year last season. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be some concern now going forward, like can he maintain being healthy? But when he is, he's so dynamic, it's kind of hard to overlook that. But again, with the whole deal with Sam Darnold, listen, okay, it didn't work out this year because now he's done for the season. All right, they bring in Cam, his first day on the job. You couldn't expect much from him because he just didn't know the offense yet. Mm-hmm. So he was he came in limited and sparingly. P.J. Walker fell flat on his face that week. Couldn't get anything going offensively. And then Cam Newton comes in the second week and kind of lights it up on fire for the next week or two. And then last week, just a complete and utter debacle. I don't know how much of that is on Cam per se or just the offense, but we already know Cam's issues with coming back from behind type of situations where when you try to ask him to like lead the team and carry the team and throw the football a lot more, almost consecutively to get the team back into the game, he just falls short. He just can't do it. He's not capable of carrying any one offense to getting a comeback win. Mm-hmm. And that's just his DNA. Cam Newton, we've seen time and time again. He's had some miraculous highlights, some great running plays. He can score. He can chew the clock up. That's what he does. But the second you fall down in any kind of a deficit, he's just not the right guy to get you back into it, and that's what we saw last week.
Yeah, the incomplete pass. It was terrible. I think the overall quarterback rating was like a 10 or a 6 or something like that. It was horrible. But again, that's what you're getting when he was the best that's on the free agent wire right now that was out there to try and help out your team. That was relying on somebody like P.J. Walker when your quarterback goes down. So there you go. He's our missing player of the week.
Real quick, I was just trying to look up the contract for Deshaun Watson, and it doesn't tell me in here, but I wanted to see if I could find out, like, is his contract, is it no trade clause? Does he have a no trade clause in it? Because if he doesn't have a no trade clause,
I think he did. He had a no trade clause. I think that's why it was he wanted. That's why you heard about Miami being a landing spot and stuff like that, and that's the only way he was gonna he wanted out, and he's willing to give up his no trade clause to pick wherever he wants to go. So I think he ends up working out for his sense too.
And here's the crazy thing too: is his contract is fully guaranteed. Yeah, like this contract, you cannot by no means get out of any kind of the money.
Joe,
big time signing bonus, $27 million. $17 million roster bonus. Holy smokes, fully guaranteed.
Throw it all at him. While you're checking that out on Deshaun Watson, I want to say hi to our man, Stephen Bogucki's out there with us tonight. He said, "What's up, guys? Hope your Thanksgiving went well. I haven't seen you in a while, Stephen. Pleasure having you with us again.
What's going on, Stephen?
Yeah, we just wrapped up talking about some of the possible 2022 offseason moves. So Russell Wilson being one of them, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, Deshaun Watson still out there, Jimmy G even now potentially on the move, landing spots for them that could happen in the offseason. That's just quarterbacks. I mean, some of these other guys that are going to be free agents as well, I mean, that you could see them bouncing around too. It's pretty interesting. And you can see this whole next season have a whole different look too as well. And you want to talk about the every team being able to play and beat each other any given week. You're seeing it now. Imagine next year too. It's just going to get even crazier, especially if Tom Brady steps away from the game. But right now, I want to step away and tell you guys about our friends at Mohawk Honda there at Freeman's Bridge Road. Mohawk Honda, where they go out of their way to please you. Right now, they're still doing the Kelly Blue Book instant cash offer right now. If you go to trade in your car, they're going to give you top dollar for whatever KBB says. They'll give it to you right there, cut you a check right on the spot. Just talk to our general manager there, Greg Johnson. Jake Hot Sauce Doyle's there too as well. Lewis, the VIP man. Morales, Cam McKenna, he'll sell you a car out there too. And don't forget about the service out there. If I got to get an oil change done, go check them out there, Freeman's Bridge Road, MohawkHonda.com, where they go out of their way to please you. But right now, it is the 12 days of giving at Mohawk Honda. That's right. And you know what that is? Head to Mohawk Honda's right now, their Facebook page, to nominate a charity and receive $5,000. Make sure to comment and tag the charity in the comments, along with like and sharing your pinned post on their page. That's right. From now until December 10th, Mohawk Honda will be accepting submissions in the comments. On December 11th, Mohawk Honda will start announcing a charity a day until the 24th. 12 lucky charities will get $5,000 a piece each. Make sure you share your nominations today. That's right. So if you have a charity you feel that you really care about loving, I know it was just Giving Tuesday yesterday. Everybody's sharing all their charities to go to. Now go to Mohawk Honda's Facebook page, nominate a charity right there, and maybe they will get noticed here. Make sure you comment, like, and share it on their Facebook page, the Mohawk Honda Facebook page, and put it in the running, and you could just earn $5,000 on one of those days, those 12 days, to the charity of your choice. I mean, how amazing is that? And that just goes to show you how much Mohawk Honda cares about the people out here and how they go out of their way to please you. Absolutely. Mohawk Honda, great sponsor. We love having them along with us. All right, Joe. So
very cool.
You haven't been able to do some of these. We've been posting them online and stuff, but now I was able to make a video this week for here it is. You got your Joe Decapita's Decapitation Week. Why don't you tell us about it here, Joe?
And what's not to love about this? Rex Burkhead just gets his head taken off. Look at that. Bam! Sit down. Sit down, Rex. There's no running on the Jets that time.
Oh, yeah. Comes out of nowhere, just blindside, hits him there, takes him out. Boom.
I tell you right now, the Jets defense.
Up, then you're down. Well, let's watch in reverse, too. It's even better.
The Jets defense on this play were not having it. It was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible impact. Rex Burkhead goes down. And usually Burkhead does not go down that easily. Mm-hmm. And the Jets made sure he went down and went down hard.
Yeah, there you go. And that's Joe Decapita's Decapitation of the Week. And it looked like he had some blocking on that run, too. But then
still got blown up.
To the side, boom, blown up.
Still got blown up.
And it stopped just like that. All right, Joe, so you know what time it is. It's time to do our picks competition out there. It's getting fierce again. I was able to pick up, I said it earlier on, this particular week, I was able to catch one more game on you. If the Chargers only were able to pull it through, I would have had the 3 right there to get me back into it. But now I'm down by 2. It's getting close. We're hitting into week 13. It's exciting. And it's all about the marbles here. It's all about this thing right here. This thing full of liquor at the end of the season. The loser will be drinking it. Right now it's going to be me, but we'll see. It's going to be a very fierce competition, and this year is getting crazy. You know what I mean? You don't know who's going to win some of these. The major upsets. You don't know what you're getting out of some of those guys that seem like they'd be. Buffalo Bills, what are they doing sometimes? He's like they're falling flat on their face. You know, can't get the running game going. Josh Allen doesn't look as accurate as he was. I mean, it's just nutty. Dallas falling just like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. But here we go. Let's get right to it. We're talking about Dallas. Let's look at Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. Looks like they're going to have more of the Taysom Hill this week, along with Trevor Siemian. That might help them out a little bit. Omari Cooper coming off the COVID list, but he was limited in practice. It's still a game-time decision whether he's going to play. And if I was them, I would put him in there.
I feel like Omari Cooper is tracking towards playing, but he may not be himself because he's still feeling effects from COVID. Mm-hmm. He's still sickly. You know what I mean? He might have tested negative, but he just doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? Like that after effect of COVID is really kind of bothering him. So I don't even know how effective, even if he suits up, I don't know how effective he's going to be. Right, and then CeeDee Lamb. Is there any kind of official word on CeeDee Lamb just yet? If he's going to play, I expect CeeDee Lamb to come back sooner than a Cooper because Cooper's still recuperating from that COVID. Mm-hmm. But CeeDee Lamb, I thought last week was kind of getting closer to return, and then you just kind of held him out from the Raider game for another week to come back, maybe possibly this week.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But one thing they will be missing is Cedric Wilson here. He will be out for the game.
Oh, big loss.
And that's, well, a little bit, but I mean, because he's their main returner and stuff like that, and he has been kind of filling in for that Amari Cooper spot and getting some of the plays, and even in some of those trick plays where he can throw the ball down there. So they won't have him. It's not going to be a huge loss, but again, having him on special teams and some of those other things.
But they got Michael Gallup back, so it's really not that big of a blow.
And it's the Dallas Cowboys, so they're going to fall somehow, and it's really upset you anyways and just not really perform well. So
here's a tip, Dallas. If you want your offense to succeed, run the ball with Tony Pollard.
Right? Yeah.
With Tony Pollard. That's the key.
There you go.
Not Zeke.
He hits the hole hard.
Forget Zeke. Tony Pollard is your best running back right now on that team, and he needs the ball. He deserves the ball more.
All right, so, Joe, who do you got in this? Dallas Cowboys, New Orleans Saints. Right now, I'm going to lead towards the Dallas Cowboys again, just because we've seen what this Saints offense has been without Jameis Winston in there. Trevor Siemian just isn't the deal, but he's only a third-string, second-string quarterback anyway. He's not really going to get you anywhere. But these guys are banged up too. It's just not enough here for the New Orleans Saints. They really missed Drew Brees so much. He was willing to even try and suit up and get a helmet last week to try and help him out. But he can't. I'm going to go with
he's
the Dallas
comfortable
Cowboys.
in the booth. He ain't coming
he does.
back.
He's liking it with his hair plugs and everything. Absolutely.
That's the
Looks
thing
good.
too. Is so for this Saints team, this is going to be a little bit different it's going to be harder to predict how good or how bad this Saints offense and this team is going to be going forward, because they're home, which is nice. It's a tough place to play if you're an opponent. And here's the first official start of Taysom Hill. This is it. The chapter has been turned. It's now Taysom Hill at the quarterback position. A lot of Saints, some Saints fans and the NFL fans were kind of excited to kind of see this forthcoming. And now you're going to get your answer. Now let's wait and see what he can do. I know Sean Payton is excited because of the possibilities of the plays that he can come up with. A guy like Taysom Hill, a guy that can run the ball as well as throw the ball and become that kind of dual threat for the Saints. And it's going to be a different looking type of offense. One thing that I'll question too is Alvin Kamara back this week? He's been out for the last couple of weeks. Mark Ingram hasn't been able to suit up just yet either after being traded back to the Saints. And it's going to be interesting to say the least. I expect Kamara to be ready, but will he be ready? The defense for the Saints, they're not that bad. I mean, statistically, they haven't played that well in the last few weeks, but it goes along hand in hand with their offense. If their offense can score points, that defense kind of comes alive. And, you know, when you got when
you're out there all the time too, it's tough, you know, to hold that, you know, to get that, you know, stop an offense from scoring and being out there, and
you're out there too long. Yeah, you get tired, exactly. And so this is going to be an interesting game to me, because I think both teams, they don't normally play each other. They're going to have to do some feeling out of each other, and both teams are coming into this week not fully healthy. So I think I'm going to go with coaching on this one. I like, you know, Sean Payton's more that aggressive type of coach. And I feel like
you're going to go with the Saints.
I feel like the Saints at home are going to get the win and send the Cowboys packing with a loss.
Saucy. I like that. I won't like it because if you end up winning, you get another one back on me. But who knows? We'll see what happens when we do our other picks. But saucy. I like it.
My thing is I like the Saints defense better to play against the run for Dallas, and that is their go-to game plan. Without the run, they become way too one-dimensional. And with the secondary that the Saints have, they could really maybe get a couple of turnovers in this game and really flip the field. And then Taysom Hill and offense, here they come.
Right, and on the other hand, when you look at that secondary of the Dallas Cowboys in that last game on Thanksgiving Day, it was horrible. And I can't remember the one corner that they just kept picking on, but he kept getting the pass interference calls and holding and things like that.
That was Brown, Anthony Brown.
Yep, multiple penalties on him.
He had 4 pass interference calls on him. All of them were legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
I
he
saw
was bear hugging in the one guy.
But in the ball's in the air, right? But there were some analysts that were watching those plays. I'm like, oh my God, this is you can't call that many, you know, pass interference calls on a guy like that. Why? Because if you commit them, it's a penalty. And that's the thing too, is like you see it on other teams where they don't make the call. The guy's getting molested basically by the defensive back, and there's no call. I saw it happen in the just real quick in the Chiefs-Raiders games, right? Foster Moreau, the backup tight end for them, went out for a pass. He went out for a 5-yard cross, right? The linebacker was literally on the backside of him and was leaning on him as the ball gets thrown to him and just kind of takes his hands away. There was no call. I was like, what? It was right in front of you.
Horse shit! Come on. Yeah. And you see that a lot of times. Whatever gets out of the refs even kind of view, because you'll see him hold the guy's arm. Hold it back.
They'll trap it.
Yep, trap it and then boom and get through. But, yeah, I know. I hear you there. But, all right, let's move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, by the way, Mike Tackett has the Dallas Cowboys as well. Stephen McGuckey, everybody else out there, I see you guys, your viewers out there, play along with us. Whatever you guys out there, their picks, throw them out there. Let's have some fun with this. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Atlanta Falcons, they were so bad last week. They were even putting in multiple starters and things. It was just fill in this guy. You know, let's look at Josh Rosen. He still sucks. Things like that. And it was just Matt Ryan. I mean, pull him out early. Just it was that bad. I mean, just Atlanta is a horrible team altogether. Great time to play the Buccaneers here, though. And it is a divisional team, divisional rival. But I don't think that's going to be much of a problem here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a good team, I think, to play while they're still trying to come back from some of their injuries. Their offensive or their defensive line still looks good. JPP is really balling for them too as well. He's kind of like a hidden gem for them too, who's a reliable guy on that defensive line that not a lot of people talk about, kind of forgotten, and still making plays for them. And Tampa Bay, they really miss Antonio Brown though, dealing with that whole issue with the whole fake COVID ID or whatever and all this crap.
He made a fake card.
Yeah, they miss having him there because he was that bigger threat. You see what that offense is when they have him there. And yes, they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and a lot of other weapons, but still some of the things that they were doing when they had Antonio Brown in there, you can't take some of that away from them. But I still like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here to take care of the Atlanta Falcons.
Something that Tampa Bay was missing earlier in the season was defense.
Mm-hmm.
They are healthy now.
Yeah.
They have both their corners back.
Mm-hmm.
They have their safeties healthy. They have their line. Everybody is healthy on that side of the ball for Tampa Bay, which makes them a very dangerous team down the stretch right now. And listen, Antonio Brown's absence, yeah, absolutely kind of hurt them a little bit. But I don't think it was a major loss because they've done it without a guy like him. They can do it with them. So I would definitely think that Tampa Bay is going to come away with this win for sure. And the Atlanta Falcons, as much as they put up a fight against the Jaguars and got the win, I just don't think they're going to have enough. I mean, this is a different breed all in itself.
Yeah, and this look at that. Stephen Buckocki here says last week good wins for the New York teams. They were wins. I don't know about good wins. Again, the Giants really relying on the defense way too much here. And Stephen, he says how about your Raiders, Joe? Did they win? Yeah, they ended up winning. Yeah, on a Thanksgiving day.
They were on Thanksgiving, man. You didn't watch them?
I don't know. He might have been in the bag.
You were not part of the 38.5 million people that watched that game? That's crazy.
How many people out there, too, on Thanksgiving? You guys make it a drinking thing. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of people party the night before. It's like the biggest party day of the year or something like that. I don't know about this year. I don't know how it's been with it's still COVID and all that stuff.
I mean, there's bars open and stuff. You can go.
But you guys drink on Thanksgiving? Like, you guys big drinkers on that? I know I'm not really and stuff, but
I mean,
I know that's a thing.
For Thanksgiving, I mean, I might have a couple of drinks, but I don't go out of my way to drink my face in.
He said, "Did a working man? Working man? What are you
working?
You were working?
He's a working man.
He's a working man. So he was working on Thanksgiving.
You were working on Thanksgiving,
man.
bro?
That's rough, man. Well, appreciate you then. Then absolutely, you're working hard and on a holiday. God bless you.
I mean, we beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
It was nice. It was impressive. It was.
I'll tell you right now, though. As a Raiders fan, I was frustrated because that game shouldn't even go on to overtime. Raiders had opportunities to put it away in regulation.
They were doing Raider things again, letting them back in the game.
No, don't say Raider things because that ship has sailed. They don't do Raider things anymore.
Well, sometimes. All right, here we got the Arizona Cardinals now. Again, it's a big question for the Cardinals. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, very limited practice here. Still Kyler Murray dealing with that ankle injury, Hopkins with the hamstring. Still not. It's going to be a game time decision whether they're going to play or not. But surprisingly, throughout all that, Colt McCoy has been able to hold the ship down for them. They've been able to still get some wins, and they're still the number one seed, I think, here in the for the NFC.
They are.
So I mean, still looking good. Only having 2 losses, I think, on the year, and they get to play a Chicago Bears team to where. If you look at Justin Fields, he's at limited practice. Still have Andy Dalton at the helm for you. And if you look at the players that did not practice this particular week, it was Roquan Smith, Akeem Hicks, Cole Kmet, and Allen Robinson. Both did not practice this week. So how are they going to look in this game? And if you're that battered and beat up, too, on an already kind of bad team, this only looks good for the Arizona Cardinals with Colt McCoy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is the Cardinals, they're due to get Kyler Murray back.
I think they might even get Chase Edmonds back, too. I'm not sure. I know it said it was potential, but.
I don't think he'll be back this week. I think that he'll be held out another week. But Kyler Murray could be back, and that's got to be exciting for Cardinals fans to get back on track with that high-flying offense that they had. And DeAndre Hopkins is another guy that's been missing from the lineup.
Yeah.
He could potentially come back, but if I'm the Cardinals, I'm holding him out just one more week. Kyler Murray, to me, is a little bit closer to returning this week than Hopkins. So, but even without Hopkins and they get back their starting quarterback, I think that's going to be all the difference in the world. I think Arizona wins big over Chicago this week.
I'm going to say the same thing, too. I like the Arizona Cardinals in this one. Next up, we got the Los Angeles Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be a tough one here, Joe, because, again, the Chargers, I don't know what type of team they are. They're up and down. They let me down here. Same thing with the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, I thought that game was going to be closer than it was. They, dominated and destroyed the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Embarrassed them.
Because I thought, again, rivalry game. These two hate each other. It's going to be tough. Bengals, again, I think they had enough to win because we did pick them, but I didn't think they were going to put up, 42 points or something like that. They, destroyed them. It was bad. Coming off with a loss here with the Chargers and now Cincinnati at home, this is going to be a crazy matchup, Joe. What do you got in this one?
This one's a little bit difficult, but what I do like is I like Cincinnati's, ascension right now. They're tracking the right way. Their offense is hitting on all cylinders now that they got Joe Mixon back in the lineup. They're running the ball a lot more. They're running it more efficiently. They're just beating up physically every team they play. And with that running game comes the play action. And with the play action comes opening up this offense. T. Higgins had one hell of a day last week. It was kind of like we could have had him on the milk carton because he's been missing for several weeks.
He's been gone for a while.
But they've managed to find him somehow, and now he's back and relevant. So the Bengals, look for them to Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense to distribute the ball all over the place, utilize that tight end in C.J. Uzomah, and also run that rock with Joe Mixon. Their defense is feeding off of that offense's plays, and look for them to make it really difficult for the Chargers, who are traveling to the Cincinnati Bengals. Justin Herbert's just got to get right. I mean, at times Herbert now is starting to get affected by what the defenses are doing to this offense, and so far just haven't been able to figure it out. I feel for the Chargers, they need to get back to what was working from before and what has always worked. Give the ball to Austin Eckler, get the ball in his hands, whether it be throwing the ball to him or handing it off to him, and go from there. They have a good enough defense to stick with Cincinnati, with Joey Bosa coming flying off the edge, hunting for Joe Burrow. This is going to be a great matchup. I feel like this could be a game of the week type of scenario. I'm going to go with the home team, though. I like where Cincinnati's heading, and I just like the Bengals and what they're capable of doing right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you, too, as well, the Cincinnati Bengals, again, because the Chargers, again, I don't trust them so much. And, Justin Herbert getting pressured. Usually he's calm and collect. He can come back from some of those mistakes. But he was throwing the ball behind receivers, behind the running back that led to that pick six. It was just him making a lot of mistakes that really turned that game into a disaster for the Chargers, and then made it a good game for the Broncos in that one. So mainly him. All right, so let's look at the Minnesota Vikings. Oh, by the way, before we get to it, let's look at Mike Tackett's picks. He's got the Buccaneers, the Cardinals, and the Bengals. So he's on the same page with me so far. Next game, he's got the Vikings. Joe, Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. Yeah, man, Detroit, they just can't get it.
I'm sorry, but he's got the same picks we both do, except for the Cowboys.
Well, yeah, that's why I said he's got the same ones I do, and then you picked the Saints. So, I just said what was right. I could say, same ones except for one, but that didn't sound right.
Well, no, I'm just saying because it's a Bucks, Cardinals, Bengals. That was
that's the same there. I get you there.
That's what.
All right, so does he continue that streak and agree with you on the Minnesota Vikings?
Let's see if Mike is on track.
I actually picked the Vikings this week.
You do?
Maybe.
Are you sure?
I think I will.
Are you sure?
It seems safe right now.
But here's the funny thing. We're all going to take the Vikings this week. And Detroit's going to get their first win. That's what's going to happen.
Imagine that.
Watch it. Kirk Cousins is going to fail everybody and throw 3 interceptions to Detroit, and that's all they need to end up taking over the game.
Yep. Well, no Dalvin Cook. That could be maybe a game changer here for them. What do you think about that?
I like Alexander Madison. I mean, their backup, he's been groomed to take over this thing, and he's had opportunities before where he stepped in and had to be the starter and did fairly well. I mean, he's a tough, hard-nosed type of running back. He's hard to bring down, and he runs very physical. So let's see what Minnesota Vikings have in store. I feel like they're going to just run the same offense like they normally do, and they're going to run the ball. They're going to throw the ball to Jefferson and Adam Thielen and let it ride. So, but I think the Minnesota team is better equipped to get this win over the Detroit Lions. We could be shocked. come next week and just say, "Yep, the Lions finally did it." But I think Minnesota wins as well.
All right, there you go. Next we've got the Indianapolis Colts and the
Houston
Texans here. I'm guessing that Mike Tackett has the Colts in this one. I think he has the names wrong. He's got it down here further, but yes, he goes with Colts on this one. Joe, what do you got? What do you got in this one here?
So here's the interesting thing. We thought Houston was going to beat the Jets.
Yeah, right, because they looked good.
Listen, Tyrod Taylor was back at quarterback, so it gave us all the confidence in the world. We saw him upset another team the week prior.
The Jets have been horrible.
And the Jets have been struggling. Zach Wilson, what was it? Was it his first game back?
First game back, after injury. And
so
again, this season he's had some bumps,
but
some
that's
bruises
the thing,
along the way.
As we thought
really
with Zach Wilson returning his first week back, maybe he has to kick off some rust, and maybe that's the difference in that ball game where Houston takes over and wins. But wow, the Jets end up winning
just like that.
So that's why you can't count on every week being a lock.
Steven says yes, first game back for Zach Wilson, and
for this game in particular, the Colts seem to be getting on the right track right now. They're starting to make a push to try to get back in this division race. And the Colts have been hitting on all cylinders. Jonathan Taylor's been running rampant through the NFL, no matter who they go up against. The guy's been averaging well over 100 yards every single contest. And why stop now? As long as Jonathan Taylor can maintain, his playmaking ability with the Colts running, and Carson Wentz kind of feeding off that run game and being able to find guys that are wide open. So the Colts and their good defense that's starting to gel a little bit better now that we're farther down the season. I feel like the Colts are easily going to win this one against the Texans.
Right, and the thing, too, I think that's been a factor for the Colts is Carson Wentz, one, is staying healthy for the last couple of weeks. And except for the 2 interceptions last week, he hasn't been really turning the ball over like he was before, being a turnover machine. He only has 5 interceptions on this whole season. 2 of them were last week. So he's looking better, and this is what the Colts had wanted, what they had hoped for out of Carson Wentz. It just thinks that early on in the season they had some bumps in the road here and getting behind on this Tennessee Titans team. But with them without Derrick Henry now and having issues, they've been losing some of these games too. So that's what the Indianapolis Colts are hoping to try and get back into this divisional race here. And what a good team here to bounce back from that Tampa Bay Buccaneers game and play the Houston Texans. And they really put it to Tampa Bay. They were still even in it, too. If they didn't have some of those turnovers, we could be talking about Indianapolis Colts going in there and taking out Tampa Bay. Real quick, guys, Mike Tackett says, shout out to Marcus Freeman, defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, just got announced as their new head coach.
Oh, nice.
Before playing at Ohio State, Marcus went to a nearby high school of mine. Class act guy, and will continue to produce NFL talent in South Bend. How about that?
Awesome. There we go. You heard it here first.
Another game break here and an update by Mike Tackett. It's
our know-it-all insider.
Absolutely.
Mike
he
Tackett.
has it all the time. Let's have it for Marcus Freeman. Absolutely. There you go. There you go. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish have found their guy, and it's not Urban Meyer. So there you go. It works out.
And now we're moving on.
Yeah, and now we'll move on. Excellent. So going on from the Indianapolis Colts, I'm going to agree with Joe here on this one as well. I think we're across the board here. The New York Giants.
Football Giants.
That's right. And the Miami Dolphins here going into Miami, and they play harder there too. So, I mean, it's going to be a different scenario. In New York Giants, they don't play well on the road. This year as well either. They're a lot better. I think they've won all their wins this year are at home wins. I think they really are.
Yeah.
I think they're undefeated at home this year.
Oh, that'd be funny.
So I think that has been a big deal for them. Or not undefeated. They've got all their wins have been at home.
Okay.
But yeah, going into the Miami Dolphins here, it's a game time decision for Daniel Jones. Last night I heard from I think it was Jordan Ronan. It's like Daniel Jones has the neck strain, so he is officially ruled out. And then all of a sudden today, just like that, is like, oh well, now there's a potential that he's going to be practicing and that he might play. It's going to be a game time decision. And I think that's a bigger deal. I think with Daniel Jones, as far as if he could move his neck a little bit, it'd be better. than having Mike Glennon, because with Mike Glennon back there at quarterback, I have no faith that they can win this game.
You mean the human ostrich?
Yes. The guy who has an elongated neck, who can definitly probably see over the line all over, but he has like the periscope neck. It's like way up here, like a giraffe. But yeah, I don't see them having a chance of winning him if Mike Glennon ends up being a starter. If Daniel Jones ends up playing, it's a better chance. But again, if he's got that neck strain, I don't think it would make a difference because he doesn't look at any other receivers besides his first target, so he really doesn't have to move his neck a lot. So he just can stay there. It's like, well, I don't have to look that way, so I'm just going to go here because getting Galladay is probably over here, so I'm not going to look there anyways. So I'm just going to go here. He's straight to like I can't look that way. Oh no, he's not going to do it. He's going to look down on the receiver, and I see the Giants losing this one. I'm going to keep picking them to lose, and if they end up surprising me and win, I just feel better about it. But going into Miami, the way they've been playing still, I don't see it. Mike Tackett, he's got the Giants in this one.
Smoke weed every day.
He's got to be high. I'm sorry, Mike Tackett, but I don't know. You might have to get drug tested at this point on this one.
Oh boy. But that's the funny thing. And here's the other thing too: is it smart to play Daniel Jones even though he's coming off of that neck strain? Because it's going to take one good shot to give him whiplash.
You want to run him
and then end up injuring his neck, maybe even worse. And now he's going to be out for extended amount of time. So I don't think it would be a smart play if they do decide to play him, if he is capable of it. And then I'm looking forward to the human ostrich to suit up in this game. I really am. Give him another start under his belt. Let's see what he's got. The Giants defense.
We already know what he has. Though.
I already love the Giants defense. I mean, I think that they're going to be something to contend with going down the stretch as long as they can correct some things this offseason. The Miami Dolphins, they seem to be hitting on a hot streak right now in terms of defense. They're healthier on the defensive side of the ball. They are more attacking now. They are getting turnovers after turnovers. This is the Miami Dolphins defense that we saw coming into the beginning of the season, and they just weren't there yet. So now they're starting to hit on all cylinders right now. They're starting to carry this over for the last couple of weeks, coming in back home with Tua at the helm. I like the Miami Dolphins this week, at home against the Giants. I feel like they're going to get this win, but I do think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to be like a defensive game. It's going to be kind of like a little bit weird, but in the end, I got the Dolphins.
Again, Jalen Waddle this past week doing the waddle like a penguin in the end zone.
I hope he does it again. Hope he does it again.
I think Mike Gesicki is going to have a bigger day. Somebody, the tight ends, again, Giants don't usually fare well against tight ends, and I think they're going to try and give a lot of that underneath stuff. So maybe we'll even see Gaskin get into some play here in this one too for them.
You're going to see a lot of Waddle.
So yeah, we'll see. Well, maybe Waddle. A lot of Waddle. Maybe. We'll see. There we go. All right, so we got the Philadelphia Eagles now, who just got embarrassed by the Giants. Like they killed
they're pissed.
The Giants didn't win that game. By the way, good wins in New York. The Giants didn't win that game. The Philadelphia Eagles just lost that game. Flat out. I mean, it stinks. They should have had it there.
Throw like multiple interceptions.
Like 4 interceptions. Yeah, 4. And they were still in the game. They still could have won it at any point. And it even went down to the end there where it should have been a touchdown and then dropped catches, though. I mean, so his receivers are letting him down. And that's the worst thing, too. Brandon Matthews says hurt is dirt. He still has those rough edges where he's still learning. But I don't know. As far as this point right now, he's shown more than Daniel Jones has for some of these things, and staying healthy, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think just at this point, look at the mistakes. You want to talk about Philadelphia Eagles and the GM and mistakes. Jalen Reagor, that seems like it's a big mistake for them because that's what I mean. Drop passes, big problems for them. That should have been scores right there. They should have won that game flat out. And the fact that you didn't get it to their other wide receiver that they have, that's a big problem too. He's got to be your big playmaker. Brandon says RPO decision making is great, but other than that, no bueno. I understand that too as well because he does sometimes miss some of those open throws as well. I get you there, but I just think the way that game was, again, Philadelphia coming off that big win, I think where they had like 40 plus points too. They should have really went into New York and really did some damage and weren't able to do it. They allowed the Giants to stay in it until the end, until that last play again, and it was tough to watch. And once you know it, I'm just going to bitch and complain real quick because I love to do that, but for some reason, again, since last Wednesday, didn't I say how I complained about what was going to be on TV and everything and stuff like that?
Yeah.
My cable blacked out the parade, so I didn't want to watch the parade, but my wife wanted to put it on. But I told you we didn't want to watch that. We didn't want to watch it. So I wasn't able to watch that or the dog show or anything. 6 and 13 were out the whole time, but then I couldn't even watch football even, and it continued out through the week. It's like they hated on me. I had to watch on Fubo TV, which I'm getting from a friend. And in that game, it's down to the last play, and so it's streaming. It freezes in the last play. And so they're lined up at the line and then froze. And then I get this circle. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? What's going on with the play? Blah, blah. And then all of a sudden on my phone, Giants win, final. I'm like, son of a bitch. I just missed it. I'm like, thank God they won, but I missed it. I missed the best part of the game at the end, the exciting things. And unbelievable. Streaming sometimes, it just bothers the shit out of me.
As much as Fubo TV advertises and everything, I've seen so many issues with that damn fucking thing. I know I went over to a friend's house.
I'm glad I don't pay for
to watch football.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, come on over. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, oh, I got this app or whatever, the streaming device. And we're watching the game. All of a sudden, it gets freaking weird. Like, it's like... It started to hurt my eyes, actually. It was like flat, like flickering and flashing type of thing. But like, oh man, it bothered me. I was like, forget this thing. It's garbage. Don't get Fubo TV. Just don't do it.
For the Philadelphia Eagles, Jets, coming off a win now. Can they string two together here against this Philadelphia Eagles? I don't know. I still don't think they're as good of a team here than the Philadelphia Eagles. But imagine now the Philadelphia Eagles dropping 2 in a row from New York teams in the same house.
You put your money on
happening. No, I don't see it happening. They could do it. They could complain like everybody did last year too. Like, this stadium sucks. It's the grass or whatever. It blows, and But I say Philadelphia Eagles bounce back against the Jets.
Yeah, there's no real weather difference or anything for either one of these teams. They both are in the Northeast, so it's not if it's cold. There's no no advantage. So Philly. Listen, they're pissed from last week. Then that they're going to want to make a statement. And what better way, sorry, Steven, than to make a statement against the New York Jets? Zach Wilson, okay, it was nice. He came back. They end up upsetting the Houston Texans. But now I think they come back down to earth. So Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to come in. They're going to make a point to not only dominate the Jets with their defense, but also Jalen Hurts is going to redeem himself this week and just flat out ball out. Eagles are going to get the better of the Jets this week.
All right, Mike Tackett has the Eagles as well. Next up, Joe, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams right there, I called it. They're on a 3-game losing streak now?
Until now.
Skid, until now. Yeah, this is the best opportune time. They're at home against a terrible Jacksonville team, and it's sad because even they grabbed Matthew Stafford here to get them to that next level. And yes, I think their offensive line has been part of the problem. They've been allowing way too many pressures. So then recently Matthew Stafford has been diagnosed with pick six syndrome. Like, my wife knows Matthew Stafford now just because of pick sixes. That game, I forget who it was, but a couple weeks ago, again, that's when she learned what a pick six was. And I keep telling her now every time this game comes out, I'm like, look who just threw another one. And she goes, oh, I know what that is. And I'm like, yes, it's the same guy again, Matthew Stafford. And it goes to show you, too, that even you go and try and grab like an Odell Beckham Jr. or some of these other stars and put them on this roster, you really need to build the chemistry there. You know what I'm saying? Not having that is a bigger problem, and trying to get Robert Woods back into the mix of things, it seems like it's been a little bit of an issue here. But and not having that running game in there, I think really missing Cam Akers, I think, at this point, too, and not having him throughout the season has been rough for these guys. But this is where they can finally turn it around now. Jacksonville, just not very good. So they can bounce back here at home. I like the Los Angeles Rams to come back. No pick sixes this week.
Cam Akers done for the year before we even got to week one.
Chance,
so that didn't really matter. Devery Henderson is a legit starting capable running back, and he is the bell cow for them. Now it's just a matter of if he can stay healthy the rest of the season to help this offense. So far, after he got back from injury, now he's back in the lineup and everything for them. But what I'll say is this: Robert Woods, he's also done for the year. There's no way. That's why they made that move for Odell Beckham. And you saw last week him getting more ample time on the football field. He learned a little bit more of that offense so he can get more snaps last week. And you saw him make a difference. He got a touchdown. Mm-hmm. He was part of that offense. He created some mismatches there. The Rams are going to be better for it this week because now that he's had 3 weeks of learning this offense, he'll be on almost full time this week, definitely making an impact. And when you have him and you have all these other Van Jefferson is actually coming to life all of a sudden now, becoming more of a prominent part of this offense. And what can you say about Cooper Kupp? The guy's dynamite. So they have the weapons. They have them in place. It's just a matter of getting this all back, get everybody to gel again, get this chemistry going. I would say if Sean McVay has any kind of brains anymore with his play calling, I would say is also part of the problem as well as the offensive line. But get back to more of a simplistic offense and just get the ball out of Stafford's hands. Get it into the playmakers, 5 to 10 yards, and let's see if they can get some yards after the catch. You know what I mean? Break some tackles and such. So give him some confidence, give this offense some momentum, and let's see what they can do. The Rams defense, they played okay last week. They made some plays, but then they also gave up some crucial plays. I would look for this week for them to get back on track. Jacksonville, we know that they were going to have a rough season the whole way with a rookie quarterback and a lot of young players. But, yeah, Jacksonville is definitely going to take this L here, and the L.A. Rams are going to come away with it and stop that drought.
All right, we've got the Washington football team coming up here now into Allegiant Stadium there to face your Las Vegas Raiders. And Taylor Heineke, they're labeling him as the star quarterback killer. He's going out, he's taking out Tom Brady. Boom. He's taking out Russell Wilson. Boom. Who else have they beat this year? I mean, it's one after another. He's adding them to the list. And that's the one thing. I mean, I understand it's a good story. At this point, even for the New York Giants, I would love to have Taylor Heineke back there as opposed to Daniel Jones because he's taking what they give him right now. If you look at that last game with the Seahawks, when they were playing man to man, it was a lot tighter. But they gave him the zone all the time, and he was just going underneath. The one thing he did have, escapability in the pocket. He was making some good moves to get out of it and be able to make the big plays and during those times of pressure, not making the bonehead mistakes, but taking what they give him and making it work. And that's why they were able to get out there and play. And then the way the teams that they've been facing have been playing have been in injuries and not playing well, and turnovers. So then the defense really wasn't out there that long, so they were fresh throughout the whole game and allowed that offense to still be able to do something. And even last week, it's not like the Washington football team was all of a sudden lighting them up. I mean, against the bad Seattle team. I mean, they almost lost that game right at the end. The Washington football team gives up that score, and if it wasn't for that failed 2-point conversion, they would have been, they would have been going into overtime and then possibly lost that game. So I don't think it's like this team is that much better right now. I think they're okay, but Las Vegas Raiders, I still think they have a lot more potential here. They play better at home. I think they have a potential here to take out the Washington football team and end that winning streak. So I like the Raiders here at home in this one.
Here's the interesting part of Washington. They got better after they lost Chase Young and Montez Sweat.
I don't think it was like they were really sacking everybody or anything like that, making a whole lot of pressure.
No, but this defense is playing better.
A little bit. I think
now that they don't have them,
is doing well.
But that's my point. Is their two biggest stars? They exit, and this defense is getting much. They're playing much better. I mean, I saw something in Washington last week that didn't see it when they had Chase Young and Montez Sweat. I wonder if it's because they were forced to change or critique this defense a little bit. Now that they got Landon Collins now in the box almost exclusively and attacking, that it's adding a different element to this defense, enough to make a big impact and them to be playing more aggressive instead of back on their heels all the time. And for Taylor Heineke, the thing with him is that he's just being that ultimate game manager for them. He's not, making the big-time bad decisions. He's not turning the ball over. he can make plays with his legs when he needs to. And that's all they ever wanted him to do. And he's doing just enough to help this offense. And then with this defense, kind of they're re-emerging as a good defense once again. That going hand in hand is making them really tough against whoever they play. Now they come into Vegas. This is going to be an interesting game. I by far don't think this is going to be a landslide either way. I think Vegas, they now that they got their mojo back a little bit with Desean Jackson and utilizing the deep threat that he is.
See you, Steve. Thank you for joining us tonight, by the way.
It's going to have their offense back on track right now, and it's only the beginning. Yes, they'll probably be without Darren Waller this week, but I don't mind that because Darren Waller really hasn't been that big of an impact these past several weeks. He's kind of teams have been taking him out of being that ultimate go-to guy because they've been double teaming him every week, and that just leaves other guys open. So I like Vegas. I like what they're doing. I just hope that they don't. For the life of me, I just hope they don't go conservative in this game because you cannot overlook any team in any given week. So I'm going to go with my Raiders at home on this, getting the win.
All right, Mike Tackett, he went with the Rams as well, and then he's got the Raiders as well here too. One good thing for the Washington football team too is last week they got back Curtis Samuel, so that will help out as another weapon too instead of just relying on
Curtis Samuel.
Logan Thomas came back too, was able to receive and get some catches too for them. So
funny thing
that's positive for the offense.
Curtis Samuel only played like one snap last week.
But
I think they're really nervous about him re-injuring himself. They're going to be really careful. I don't see him coming back fully yet. He's definitely going to be in a lot more plays this week. Probably about 50% of the plays. But yeah, Logan Thomas is another big addition for them to come back and be healthy.
Yeah, and how they really took care of the Seahawks in that pass game was really their running game. You had Antonio Gibson getting it done and J.D. McKissick too. J.D. McKissick is fighting against his former team. How about that? And then maybe last week, if you look at his game last week, that was maybe a little bit of showing you why they rated him so high in Madden all those years or something like that. Because besides that, we had no idea why. You know what I mean? Finally living out his potential they've had, you know. So, all right, we've got No Donnie 8 is in the house with us tonight. No Donnie 8 is in the house.
What's up, No Donnie?
No Donnie. There you go. Shout out to you. And he says 9-2 Arizona Cardinals. That's right. Arizona Cardinals, big Cardinals fan. We saw them doing well this year. Again, 9-2 though. I mean, that's surprising, especially with having the injuries on DeAndre Hopkins. Your star quarterback and your star wide receiver out, and still getting it done. Only falling one of those other games with Colt McCoy in there, but winning the other two. And that's all you want out of your backup quarterback is be able to not lose you the game. And you have so many other stars on that team, not only on defense but offense as well. So you guys can get it done without having your stars there. So
yeah, and AJ Green's been hurt too.
Yeah, absolutely, that's true too. So yeah, good for the Arizona Cardinals, and No Donnie's in the house. We've got the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh just in disarray, not looking very good. They're going to be at home against another rival in the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens again, skimming out those wins here and there, you know, but playing tough games, and then even they lose last week, I think, was it? I can't remember. What was it?
I don't think so.
Baltimore?
I think they
won. They ended up winning. It was a tight. Yeah, that's I remember that tight game where they ended up winning here against the Cleveland Browns. But getting those tough games, those close games together, that's right, because Lamar Jackson just turning the ball over nonstop though, not looking very good. And it looked like he was regressing at times with some of the plays and the throws he was doing. And that's the thing about some of these analysts, too, as well. They want to say, oh, this is Chris Collinsworth, too. Shut up, Chris Collinsworth. We hate you, all right? Just because you want to say, oh, look at this is the new breed of quarterbacks. It's amazing. Look at what he's doing. Yeah, he's airing the ball out, living on a goddamn prayer, and freaking – his tight end can be able to make a big play while being, with a pass interference call right there. That's going to happen when you air it out sometimes because it's lofting in the air so much, not sure what's going to go up. So you're going up for it at the same time. You're going to get those pass interference calls. But he was just doing some of those plays, and that doesn't show greatness as a quarterback here and there. You're trying to just heave it up there, wishing something can happen, and you want to give them all these accolades for what they have, and really that's any kind of play.
That's my favorite part of football when the game's being called And it doesn't matter what quarterback it is. It could be Aaron Rodgers.
Well, whoever they like, though. Eli Manning throws up that big play. If David Tyree doesn't come up with the catch, they're like, what the hell is he doing with that throw?
I understand that, but my thing is that every quarterback throws it up to try to get that call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it happens every single week it happens. You see like Dak Prescott, he'll throw it over to a direction because his receiver is perhaps getting mauled by the defensive back, and just to try to get a call. And the other funny thing is in that game on Thanksgiving, the Cowboys-Raiders game, I thought was hilarious. Danny Schultz, the tight end, flopped.
Yeah.
He took a flop. The guy barely touches him, and he goes, ah!
Yeah.
I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, it was brutal.
I would have been really pissed off if they throw the flag on that. But that's the thing is, like, referees got to also be smart about this. And if you tend to see a player either flopping or kind of making a dramatic movement that's not really, necessary, don't throw the flag.
Right.
That's what they want you to do.
Yep. But what a play by Mark Andrews on that play. That one-handed catch before he hit the ground, too. I mean, that was sick.
He's got
it didn't
hands.
matter because of the pass interference, but wow.
He's got hands.
No, Donnie says Bears are in trouble this Sunday morning. Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
They will
I think
be.
they are, too. I think it's not looking good for them. And it looks good for the Giants, though, because they have the Bears pick. Number 1 this year, so that was good for me. I'm excited about it. Let's just see them keep losing here. We've got the Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Baltimore, like I was saying before, again, I freaked out about how these guys, try and crown these guys. I see the Baltimore Ravens still coming through out of here with a win. I think they get those tough losses or tough wins throughout those diverse types of games, those close ones, really fighting and digging it out. And I know Lamar Jackson, he knows what he did last week. Said, I played like a rookie, like terrible, blah, blah. I got to do better. I think they come back here against this Pittsburgh Steelers team and pull out a win.
Yeah, Baltimore Ravens defense is now starting to play a little bit better too. Despite now it's funny because the Ravens defense is starting to gel a little bit better, but now their offense with Lamar Jackson is struggling the past couple of weeks. It's almost like Lamar is trying to prove to everybody that he can throw the football, and he's forcing it to happen. Don't do that. You're a running style offense, and then play off of that run and find those open receivers like they did early on in the season. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to be the guy that's going to drop back and throw it 50 or 60 times. That's not what this offense is, and that's not the type of quarterback you are, Lamar. You're an opportunistic quarterback that takes advantage of the defense, whether that be running with your legs or finding somebody open, intermediate or whatever, to your tight end or whatnot.
Donnie says, Frank Garrett, the Stillwell stud.
Okay. The Pittsburgh Steelers, on the other hand, they're on a little bit of a downward trend right now. Their defense is still good. Don't overlook that. But their offense is majorly struggling because teams are starting to key on Najee Harris, trying to stop that run game and make them one-dimensional with Big Ben. And let's face it, Big Ben is not the same anymore. Sometimes he's missing these targets, or he's making a bad decision and being rushed to throw the football and ends up turning the ball over.
Yep.
And I still see the same thing happening this week. I got the Ravens against Pittsburgh.
He's the Oklahoma legend, Frank Garrett. There you go. Mike Tackett says he's got the Ravens in this one too as well. We're all on board on this one. A couple more here. We got the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle, again, struggling. Couldn't come out with that win here. The offense doesn't look very good. The turnovers, again, that punch ball by Landon Collins here. And turning it over. They can't put up points on offense. It's tiring out that defense, and that defense even isn't as good. But when you're on the field as much as they were last game, it made it that much worse. I was surprised they were able to hold it tight as they could in that last game. But I think if Washington's kicker was able to sustain and stay healthy during that game, though, it would have been better for him. Oh, man, pulled the hamstring. But I like the San Francisco 49ers in this one. I think they're just too much for Seattle to handle at this point. And I like what they've been doing there. And George Kittle, what a monster there, too, in his blocking game, not only receiving, too, as well. And they're getting Brandon Ayuk more involved, too. And Deebo Samuel, not only just he was doing well, too, for his receiving ability there, too. But look at all the touchdowns he has, and a lot of them are in the rushing game.
Yeah, and that's part of this offense, you know. So they utilize a lot of those jet sweeps. They utilize the RPOs, and something that is going to play huge for Trey Lance down the road. That he's going to be. That's the reason why they took him, is because he was a specialist in college football with those RPOs, with the option plays that they utilized. So this offense fits Trey Lance better than Jimmy G, but I don't even know who's gonna. Is Trey Lance starting from now on?
No,
like
I don't think so.
Is it just
no,
Jimmy
I think
G
just
still?
when he gets healthy, they just said that they're comfortable, they're moving on, and it's an open. They're going to be trading. So
this game, as much as I like the Niners and where they're headed, it's a little confusing to me because what I saw last week, even though they got the win, what I saw last week is defensively, their secondary is still kind of beat up. Their secondary is giving up a lot of yards, and that kind of concerns me. Going into Seattle is a difficult place to play. They both know each other so well. This could go either way. I think that maybe, just maybe, Seattle's going to get the win this week and kind of surprise a lot of people because they have been struggling in the past couple of weeks, and it's not because they're missing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett's not there. You know what I mean? It's not like something weird like that. But I feel like Seattle's going to try to key. They're going to bring Jamal Adams into the box like they normally do, and they're going to try to key on Niners' run game because that's really a big part of their offense. If they're able to run, then they're going to move the ball on you. So that to me is a deciding factor of this game. I'm looking for Seattle's defense to key on trying to stop this run. If they do it, they got a really good shot of winning. If they don't,
the thing, though, too.
They are going to fail.
The Seattle, again, every yardage that they've been getting on offense, though, with the passing game is big chunk plays, namely to Tyler Lockett on crossing routes. And you saw last week, DK Metcalf have one target and one catch, I think. So they got to get him more involved to get into this game as well. All right, so you've got Seattle on that one. Now Mike Tackett has the 49ers in that one. And we've got the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Like you liked Denver last week. They were playing better. You're saying Kansas City Chiefs, now they've moved up into the top spot. Looks like they're playing a little bit better. Last week had a bye week, so they can rest up some more. And they got Clyde Edwards-Helaire back now too, right? Yeah, so they had him back last time. So I think they're looking good right here. I like the Kansas City Chiefs at home in this one against the Denver Broncos, a rival.
This is another one of those games where it really could go either way because of how close these teams play each other. I don't know. This is a close one. Kansas City, because they're home, I'm going to take the Chiefs, but I would not be surprised if Denver also sneaks away with this one.
All right, next up we've got, and last here on Monday Night Football, the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. This one was going to be a super exciting one to look at here because we've got number 1 and number 2 in that division right there, facing each other, rivals. A lot of people maybe thought even before this came through here that Buffalo would be the number 1 seed in this division facing against the Patriots. But now the Patriots on that winning streak right now. Do they finally face this Buffalo Bills team that can put them off that winning streak and knock them out? This
is a really, really big game because if the Bills can pull off the win, that makes them a tie. They get that tiebreaker, and they're in first right now. So huge game. I like. Listen, it's tough to face Buffalo in Buffalo enough. New England, they're going to have a great game plan going into Buffalo. They are a hot team right now, especially defensively. Mac 10 and company, Mac Jones is playing really good football. You know what I mean? Especially just being a rookie and for him to do what he's doing right now in this offense. Me and Jimmy already called this before the season started that not only does he fit this offense to a T, but he's going to excel quicker than people think. And we're seeing it right now. So New England, they're in that hunt. They're trying to become that number 1 seed, for all of AFC, and they're still going. I like Buffalo to get back on track, actually, in this game. I got Buffalo in this game to upset the Patriots. And I think Josh Allen's legs are going to be the difference in this one because it's hard to teach. Hard to teach that, especially with his speed and everything. The plays that they're going to try to manipulate this Patriots defense, as aggressive as they are, they're going to probably try to use that against them in this game. I think they're going to edge them out.
Yeah, I hear you there, too. And again, I like the play of Ed Oliver this past couple of weeks, too, the way he's been stepping up and playing, too, as well for this team. And I think it's one of those games. New England has been on a winning streak. Buffalo, again, in some tougher games here, but at home, they know what these implications mean for these guys. I think it's going to be Buffalo to take this one as well. You're going to get that winning streak down. New England's going to suffer their loss here, but again, they can easily get back on track because I think the rest of the games moving forward are a lot easier for them than what now Buffalo needs to face. So right now, like you were saying, implications here, and they get that tie break. They need this win because after this, it's going to get kind of tough.
Here's something interesting, too. An interesting stat is the New England Patriots are actually, on away games, they're undefeated. They're 5-0 on away games right now, and they're 3-4 at home. You would think that'd be the opposite.
Yeah, I know, right?
But
usually
they're 5-0. Now, can the Bills break that streak?
Yeah,
can
they're due for a loss then. There you go.
And the Patriots are on a 6-game winning streak right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it. That's our picks and everything this week. We appreciate you guys joining with us. We have a quick announcement to make here, by the way, too. It's coming up not this Friday, but next Friday. Our buddies here from Godzilla Media, they're going to be going live from Hooters in Albany. So anybody that's from around here, you guys got to go check that out. Let me just check here. Mike Tackett, he's commenting in here. Let me just see what he's got. Boy, New England sure did come put, I think he meant out of nowhere. Props to Belichick for pulling the trigger on Jones. Just peeked at the current 2022 NFL draft picks. The Jets, Giants, and Eagles all have two picks in the top 10. What a shift in the NFL for so many teams to have multiple top 10 picks. Yeah, see, that's what he meant. Yeah, it is. It's nuts. And the funny thing about it is what Joe and I had brought up is that right there where the Patriots, when they traded out of that position, where they had picked, originally we had them picking Mac Jones, but once they traded out, we're like, oh man, that's not going to happen then. And for them to sit back and stay where they traded back to and still get their guy in Mac Jones, I thought was pretty amazing and very Patriot-like too as well. And that's just to land.
That's what the Patriots have always been doing, right? Manipulating the draft board and just being patient enough and not panicking to still get their guy wherever they need it. So kudos to the Patriots organization and Bill Belichick. Listen, that was their guy the whole time. The goal for that draft was they're going to try to be patient. As long as Mac Jones isn't taken, they are going to take him if he's there. If he's sitting right there, wherever they're picking, that's the guy. Well, real quick, just want to talk about, if you enjoy this podcast, everybody, and other Godzilla Media shows, make sure to join Godzilla Media at this year's Christmas party, y'all.
It's the first
on
one.
Friday, December 10th. Godzilla Media is partnering with DeCrescenti, Heineken, and Hooters for an exciting celebration.
Sounds like a great mix.
It does. Levac and Gaz will be broadcasting live from Hooters from 5 to 7 p.m. If you bring any unwrapped Christmas gift, the staff there from Heineken will wrap your gift for you. Plus, if you bring any unwrapped kids' toy to the event, you will have a chance to win $150 thanks to DeCrescenti. Join Godzilla Media's first ever Christmas party to celebrate the holidays, enjoy delicious Heinies, and to share gifts this Friday, December 10th at Hooters.
Absolutely. That's right. It's going to be awesome. Our first annual Christmas party with Godzilla Media. Levac and Gaz, they're fun to watch here, 5 to 7, streaming live. Levac is the team president here for the Arena Leagues, the NAL Albany Empire. So if you guys didn't know that, check that out. You get to see him in rare form here at Hooters. He has a lot of fun there. And we're going to be there hanging out. So if you guys are from the Albany area, I'm sorry, guys like Mike Tackett out there and stuff, but we're going to try and say hi to you guys. So come down to Albany, check it out. We'll shake some hands and hang out and have some Heinekens with everybody out there and eat some wings.
I'm just going to have Heinies.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. So one last announcement, too, I have for you guys, that we are also sponsored by Paul Perry Kitchens. Let me tell you about them. They're also on Freemansbridge Road, 144 Freemansbridge Road. And they're a local kitchen specializing company here in design, cabinetry, countertops, and from the first meeting to the final review, Paul Perry Kitchens, they and their associates, they'll work at every step of the way and guiding you to make the right decision so that your kitchen is a reflection of you. Just go see my man Paul LeBlanc. You got Ann Davis down there and Rebecca Pizer too as well. They'll go down there to help you custom design your kitchen. And like I said, work their way through it. Altogether, they have a combined 50 years of experience there. And also, after you're done with there, right down the road, you've got Paul Perry Kitchens again. What they designed there is the kitchen or the custom closets and glass doors for your shower too. So after you go design your kitchen, just go, hey, you know, honey, I got some extra cash kicking around too. I know my wife wants a custom closet too. Go talk to my man Chris Boulan over there just down the road too at Paul Perry Kitchens. Check him out at paulperrykitchens.com. All right, Joe, that's it for us. Everybody out there, we thank you so much. What do we got?
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, all right, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday nights for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.